This is the Pac-12 Conference on ESPN on a classic kind of Corvallis night, a classic college football rivalry game. Number 15 Oregon on the road at Research Stadium in Corvallis to take on their longtime rivals, the Beavers of Oregon State. Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, Shelley Smith, great to have you with us on this Thanksgiving Friday, and we'll talk lots about the history of this rivalry, Rod, as we go along. We've got in this current edition some stars on both sides. The Oregon quarterback Tyler Shough has played really well, hasn't he?
He really has, and a lot of folks were worried about what would happen with Justin Herbert leaving and going on to the NFL. Need not worry. Tyler Shough has been great. He's been all that you thought as a passer, and his running ability has been really fantastic. And speaking of running ability, man, what a treat on the other side. The country does not know about Jermar Jefferson, but he is leading the Pac-12 with about 500 yards rushing in about 3 games. He can break tackles. He's an exciting player. Great stage for him, for the country to get to know him.
Oregon State won the toss, and they have deferred, so we'll have to wait to see Jermar Jefferson on the field. The Ducks offense will be out there first, and we are just about ready to go. It is raw. It is foggy. It feels cold on the field at Research Stadium, which is really the perfect weather for this Pacific Northwest rivalry. The Ducks and the Beavers, here we go. And the kickoff deep near the goal line, but returnable for Oregon. And Mikhail Wright will return to kick off for a touchdown in this rivalry game last year. The Ducks will start from around the 23-yard line, and now we'll see Tyler Shough and the Oregon offense come out on the field. Rod described him. Tyler was a very highly regarded quarterback from Chandler, Arizona, with ties to the state of Oregon on both sides of his family, especially his mom, who played softball, not for the Ducks, but for the Beavers. He wears number 12 in honor of his mom. That was her softball number. He's one of 2 Oregon quarterbacks since 2000 with 300 pass and 80 rushing yards in a game. He is a dual threat player. He has really played well, and he's going to hand the ball off on first down. Huge hole. C.J. Verdell with a great first play gain for Oregon to start this rivalry game.
Great sign for the Ducks. You think about Verdell, star player who didn't have a great game last week, and he'll have a few more touches. That's a great start.
C.J. Verdell, back-to-back 1,000 rush yard seasons. We'll see if he can get there in this shortened 2020 year. He's in the backfield again. They fake it to him and swing it out to Johnny Johnson, who has a nice gain short of midfield, but a gain of 8 on first down for Oregon.
Yeah, Shough has really handled this offense well. You see his numbers there, 6'5", 221, and he's excellent in this run-pass option that has become a new part of the offense thanks to Joe Moorhead, the new offensive coordinator.
It is a different-looking Oregon offense, and it's been a high-powered Oregon offense, averaging about 500 yards per game, leading the conference in yards per play. That run, not for a huge gain, but Verdell enough to get the first down just short of midfield.
And Verdell is a guy that, as I mentioned, I expect to see him get more touches. Last week, you saw the UCLA game. They really focused on him, shut him down. He didn't have the kind of game you would expect. I expect him to get more touches and be back to the normal kind of star we believe.
It's Verdell alongside Shough, who's going to throw on 1st and 10, and that pass complete again to Johnny Johnson, the senior, also like Tyler Shough from Chandler, Arizona, who's got more than 100 career receptions. Now a penalty flag. It's a rivalry game, Rod, and you expect maybe extra emotions, a little extra hard feelings perhaps on both sides, and we'll see if this is our first rivalry game penalty.
Always a little juice when you get started in these games. Little trash talk, trying to assert yourself.
After the play,
just can't make it a selfish down.
Offense number 3, 15-yard penalty. The down counts, 2nd down.
So the down counts, but that's against Johnny Johnson in Oregon.
Okay, fair tackle.
Correction, the penalty's on number 2. Number 3.
Penalty puts the ball at the 44-yard line where it's 2nd and 16.
And we welcome those of you joining us after UCF takes care of USF in a rivalry game. This a rivalry game with a lot more history and tradition. One of the most historic rivalries in all of college football. And the Oregon Ducks, who have the football first. C.J. Verdell. Oregon on the move here. He already has one nice run on the first possession of this game. The Ducks come in as the 15th ranked team in the country. Oregon State has made a lot of progress in their rebuild. 1-2 easily could be 2-1. So we'll see what we get here in a game where the Ducks are heavy favorites, but Oregon State looking for an upset on their home field, Reser Stadium, on a raw, cool night in Corvallis. Now whistles blowing, and Oregon's got to call a timeout. The play clock was winding down. They were trying to get Travis Dye in there in place of Verdell for a 3rd and 11 play. So very early on in this one, Oregon will take a timeout.
You know, it looked like Oregon had a substitution issue there, Flem. And so when they had that, they got a little confused and really had to call timeout to avoid the penalty. So I think that's what happened there. But rivalry games, you know, they get you kind of excited, get you a little worked up, and got to control your adrenaline to get started.
Well, it's great to have you with us, Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, Shelley Smith down on the field in Corvallis on this raw night. Perfect weather for this rivalry game, Oregon State and Oregon. This is the 124th meeting. It's one of the most historic. It's one of the most passionate and fierce. And at times it has been one of the weirdest rivalries in the history of this sport. And we hope we get some weirdness tonight on 3rd and 11. Tyler Shuck sets up a little screenplay, and nice room ahead of Verdell, who makes the catch. The run after gets the first down into Oregon State territory inside the 40.
Well done. It was actually a double screen, faked it one way, came back the other way, and then just the decisiveness of Verdell to get up the field, and they picked up the first down on that one.
Well, the Oregon State defense has had problems. They think they are a better improved unit, but they have not been dominant this year by any stretch. That time they got pressure on the quarterback and forced Shuck to throw it away.
Number 3 was in the area. 3rd down. 2nd.
Okay, so we got a quick explanation from our crew. No grounding at the time of the pass. Apparently, Johnny Johnson was in the area, so no intentional grounding.
He was in the area code.
Well, how do you define area? Yeah, he's in the stadium. 2nd and 10. This will be the 8th play of the drive already for Oregon. They got the ball first. A little jet sweep kind of action. And a tough run. Jalen Red broke tackle, stayed on his feet, down the sideline. Touchdown.
I think the Beavers gave up. They thought he was down or out of bounds, and Red used his right hand, kept his hand down, never got his knee to the ground, and kept going. Go back and watch this. Watch the very end here. Watch him get to the sideline.
Scored a touchdown. Timeout for an injured player.
Keeps his balance with the right hand, and I think a lot of the Oregon State defenders assumed he was down. Great heads-up play by Red.
Just a tremendous run, and that's really not supposed to happen. I think you're right. There was a let-up on the Oregon State side in effort there, and I was watching that replay there. I don't think there's any question. He stayed on his feet, was not down,
Absolutely.
was in bounds. That touchdown's going to stand.
Yeah.
So now the extra point. Nothing in the kicking game has been automatic for the Ducks, and that is not Camden Lewis. That's Henry Cattleman, the sophomore, who may well be the place kicker in this rivalry game. What a start for the Ducks. They get the ball first and get a tremendous individual effort from Jalen Red to take a 7-0 lead. Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, Shelley Smith back with you. It is college football primetime presented by Ram Trucks on a cool, raw, foggy night in Corvallis, Oregon. 4 rushes, 4 passes, officially a running play to a wide receiver, Jalen Red, 37 yards, and a terrific run by Red to put the Ducks up 7-0. Great start for them in the 124th meeting between these two teams. It is Champ Flemings who will return the kickoff. Penalty flag thrown on the kick return. So this one could be moving backward closer to the goal line.
During the return, holding. Return team number 81. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. First down.
So the Oregon State offense not going to have great field position to start. Their quarterback, the redshirt junior transfer from Nebraska, Tristan Gebbia, who was himself a very highly regarded high school quarterback from Calabasas outside LA. Southern California sat out in 2018 after making that move from Lincoln to Corvallis. His first start actually came last year in this rivalry game. So he's only made 5 career starts, does not have a ton of experience. And they need a good performance from him tonight to help free up some room for their star running back Jamar Jefferson, who does not get the carry. Instead, it's that fly sweep action. Trevon Bradford with the carry, very close to first down yardage.
Flem, you couldn't have been more on point. Gebbia has to have a big game. There's a lot of pressure on him because his great running back is going to face an 8-man box, and Oregon is determined to stop him. And unless Gebbia can throw the ball down the field, it's going to be a long, long night for his running back, Jamar Jefferson.
Who's one of the best running backs in all of college football. There's the first carry, and there he goes down the sideline. Jefferson, another huge run. He had 2 of them last week, and he's got 1 of them already this week for a long Oregon State touchdown, 82 yards. My goodness.
Wow. What a run. The question about him from a lot of corners was, hey, top end speed, maybe not so much. Yeah, right. Check this one out. Now he gets lost in here, and all of a sudden all the Ducks are like, wait, he came out of that pack? And you want to talk about some afterburners? Yeah, the criticism about maybe he doesn't have the top end speed, check that.
I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, you just figure the game plan against this team, the way they are constructed right now, is at all costs you got to stop that guy. And the first time he touches the ball in this game, he goes 82 yards for a touchdown to tie it up.
Well, look at all the yellow jerseys that are around. They had an 8-man front. They had a bunch of guys there. They just weren't in the right spot, and he managed to get to the outside and was on his way.
So what a terrific answer for the Beavers. A lot of action already in this one. Just the first 4 minutes of this rivalry game. Jamar Jefferson, who came in with an average of better than 7 yards per rush through 3 games. Longest play of the year for the Beavers. He was the offensive player of the week just last week. Oregon State got their first win against Cal. He rushed for almost 200, 196 against the Bears.
A 75-yarder against Cal last week on the very first play of the game, and then in the fourth quarter came back with a 67-yarder.
Which, if the game situation had been different, he might have just taken it all the way on that one too. So Jamar Jefferson, truly one of the underrated superstars. I say underrated. I don't think he's underrated by the teams that play against him. Just unknown across the country. The Oregon State's program struggling. His 3 years in Corvallis, looking for a breakthrough win against the Ducks. Oregon will bring the kickoff. Mikhail Wright stays on balance, only to take a big hit for the first time tonight. Let's say hello for more on this rivalry game to Shelley Smith down on the field. Shelley.
This truly is one of the nastiest rivalries in all of college football. And how do I know? Because I've been to a bunch of them. Once I was here with my niece Vanessa, who was wearing her Ducks jacket. She got hit in the head with a chunk of ice. It didn't knock her out, but it knocked her silly. I was also here when Jonathan Smith was the quarterback. He's now, of course, the head coach. He zinged a pass into the end zone, won the game, and knocked the Ducks out of the Rose Bowl. The Oregon State hate is really real, believe me.
I trust Shelley, Rod, on rivalry, hatred, and the Ducks and the Beavers. Look, it's the biggest deal in this great state that loves college football. They've got this long history, complicated history. between the two programs as the Ducks fake the handoff and throw to the right side. That is Jalen Red after his big touchdown run. First time Oregon had it. Now a nice gain on first down.
Which makes Tyler Shuck's situation even more interesting, considering that his mother was a Beaver, played there, and he was recruited by both schools, and the family's divided. Typical rivalry.
There are lots of players in this game who do have divided families between allegiances. Red, obviously they're going to get him the ball in this game. He has been dynamic in the first few minutes. Caught that one for a gain of 9.
2 run pass options in a row. You saw Shuck really just, fake the ball, make the read, and decide that the better option was get the ball to Red and let him do his thing. And so Red's off to a big start, 3 touches already.
Can Oregon State make some big plays on defense? They do not have a ton of talent on paper on the defensive side of the ball. They feel like they've gotten better. Handoff straight ahead. Couple broken tackles by Travis Dye for a first down run.
I do wonder if Shuck's family, now that he's the starting quarterback, has decided to root for the Ducks. I mean, after all, that is blood, right?
I don't think you can root against your kid. No matter how much you like your alma mater,
right?
You're rooting for your kid. Shuck pressured, maybe took a hit as he delivered that ball and got it to Devin Williams, who is a part of the history between these two programs in the last couple of years. Penalty flag down at the end of that play. Williams coming off a breakout game, went to USC initially. When he entered the transfer portal, said he was going to Oregon State. About a day later, changed his mind and ended up at Oregon. So he's got a history on both sides.
Oregon. This is their first and only one of the game. Sideline warning.
Okay, so just a sideline warning. No penalty, and Williams' gain will stand.
Little hit there on Shucks, but here's the look at Williams. Oh, that's a heck of a move for a guy who's about 6'5" and 205 pounds.
Cyrus Habibi-Lakio comes in the game across midfield. They run sort of an option style play. Shuck ran into his own offensive lineman there, got stood up and got maybe a half a yard. Omar Spates ended up making the tackle. He's been one of the best players on defense for the Beavers this year.
Flynn, what we're seeing here in the opening 2 drives is how an offensive coordinator changes plans. So defensively, you practice against the best plays, their trend, what they do and whatnot. You come out prepared for it. Oregon State's a little shocked right now because what they're seeing is not what Oregon opens with normally. Did more RPO, none of the split zone that you would expect, not a lot of the quarterback run game.
Shuck back to pass, swings it out left side. That is Habibi-Lakio with a ton of room down the sideline for a huge gain. First down and more for the Ducks. That one goes for 26 yards.
Yeah, I look at this Oregon State defense and I think they're just a little bit discombobulated because they weren't expecting this type of stuff to come out from Oregon. They were prepared for something a little different, but not as much of the heavy throwing to the backside of the backfield, not the RPO, but instead the stretch play that they live with, the quarterback run game. None of that has really shown up so far for Oregon.
Well, the Beavers got to get organized. They've given up 5 plays already of 10 or more yards. Oregon's run 14 plays. They have 169 yards already in the first few minutes of this game. Shuck, another completion right side, and that one will go for 9 more. That's Chris Hudson, the true freshman, with the catch.
This defense needs some time on the sideline to talk about adjustments. But remember, Oregon State, Jefferson went 82 yards in one play. They weren't on the sideline very long to start figuring things out.
Oregon's been a real good red zone team. 13 touchdowns, 17 trips. Habibi-Lakio, sort of their red zone specialist at tailback on 2nd and 2. That's a first down inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal, Oregon.
And this Oregon front, that offensive line, is really remarkable. You think about the fact that they replaced an entire offensive line And what they have out there right now is really big, really physical. There's a lot of knockback with those guys up front.
Not a single player who has started along the line for Oregon this year had ever started a college game before this season. That is amazing. First and goal. Abibi Lakio stays in, gets the ball, and gets tackled inside the 2.
That offensive line, if you're talking about controlling it, that last play gave you a pretty good example of guys controlling defenders not being able to get off blocks. And again, it's remarkable. You've got 5 new starters out there, and they've played pretty much like they've been out there all the time.
So now second and goal. Oregon trying to grab that lead back. Already 2 touchdowns on the board in the first 9 minutes of this game. Fake and a little flip with a big hit. Nice play by Jaden Grant from his safety spot. He just absolutely drilled that Ducks ball handler and stopped him short. Jalen Redd couldn't get there.
Yeah, great tackle, but a poor read that time by Shuck. I think he would tell you that I should have kept that ball, but he gave that ball up to Redd when there was a defender coming directly at him.
They got a decent spot, so they're still at the 1. The center got blown backwards there, and there is a flag thrown, so that ball got snapped, but a flag before the play gets started. We'll see.
95 offside with contact, half the distance to the goal. Replay third down.
Okay.
Easy call.
Well, and maybe there's no real downside to trying to get a jump. I mean, what's the penalty? A half a yard? If it's third and goal at the 1, maybe see if you can get a quick jump, and they don't call it, and you're in the backfield, and you make a big play.
Worth the gamble. Yeah, worth the gamble.
Abibi Lakio behind Shuck, tight end. That's DJ Johnson in motion, and Shuck keeps it, cuts inside for the touchdown.
Well, if you're a Beaver fan, you're thinking 2 drives, too easy. Defense has got to figure things out a little bit because Oregon has kind of walked up and down the field. And as we said, a little different approach by Oregon to open the game. You can see the Oregon State defense a little bit shock and awe, a little stunned by what they're seeing. They need some time to regroup.
All right, we'll watch these kicks. I mean, this is Henry Cattleman again. So he's now gone 2 for 2 on the point after attempts. Oregon's had the ball twice. They've gone down the field twice in this rivalry game and scored 2 touchdowns. They lead the Beavers 14-7.
ESPN College Football presented by Ram is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Order today at pizzahut.com. And Allstate. You've never been in better hands. ESPN College Football is presented by Ram, built to serve, and in part by Cheez-It, cheesy, crunchy satisfaction.
A rivalry series that goes back a long way. U of O versus OAC, Oregon Agricultural College, now known as Oregon State University. And a rivalry that in recent years has been dominated by the Ducks. Oregon State's lost 11 of 12 to their in-state rivals. They are down 14-7, getting the ball back after a short kickoff. Champ Fleming's one of the more dynamic kick returners in the country outside the 25. That's where the Beavers will have the ball, and we will take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players.
Well, we've already seen one of them. Jamar Jefferson has already made his presence felt, and Kayvon Thibodeau, you'll get to see him. He's hard to miss. He is an outstanding outside linebacker, defensive end. He was the #1 recruit coming out of high school a couple years ago. He is now a sophomore. He is an impact player that you have to account for. If you do not, he will wreck your offense.
I love the mouth guard of Jamar Jefferson, by the way, who has touched the ball once now in this game and went 82 yards for a touchdown. Jebbia will try to scramble and make something out of nothing, and if you count 3 yards as something, well, he accomplished that.
That mouth guard, is it more like
Offense number 64, 10 yards from the previous spot, replay first down.
you know, a pacifier, if I might?
Apparently,
it
it's
looks
been a
that way
while
to me.
since you've been the parent of a young child. Yes, Rod, that's a pacifier.
Is that a pacifier?
It's been a few years for you.
Yeah, I guess it would qualify. You know, they make they make what do you call them, popsicles or so with that kind of a look too.
The penalty against the Beavers, though, moves Oregon State back 10 yards. So it's 1st and 20 with Jefferson in the backfield. They loaded up with some tight ends on the left side. They have good tight ends, the Beavers do. We'll see if they're featured in this game. Jefferson straight ahead run. It's not 82 yards, but it's a positive gain. Kind of amazing, Rod. You talk about the history of these two teams playing. This is the 124th time they have played. That is the longest play for Oregon State in its history of playing from scrimmage against the Ducks ever.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know, you want to play well in rivalry games. Legends, reputations are made in games like this, and Jefferson is on his way.
That pass knocked away, incomplete, so it'll be 3rd down and long for the Beavers. From our cameras up above, it sure looks like that fog is thick. I think when you pan into this kind of look, you can tell, at least on field level, the fog may not be quite as bad as it looks from the cameras up on high. It's still a foggy, misty Pacific Northwest night.
I wonder if it has any impact on the football and the ability to hang on to it, or if it gets a little slick for the quarterbacks.
We'll see. Beavers not really built for these kind of spots. 3rd and 15. Here comes the Ducks pass rush. Jebbia dumps it short. That is caught by one of the 2 talented tight ends. That's Quitoriano, but not nearly enough for a 1st down. It's 4th down, and the Beavers are going to punt the ball.
Well, anytime you're in a passing situation, you have to make sure you know where Tobito is, and he's out to the left side. They put a couple of guys on him. You have to make sure you account for him because he is a problem, and he rushed that thing a little bit.
Well, that punt toward the sideline will go out of bounds. And Oregon will have the ball when we come back to Corvallis right after this. Well, tomorrow night on ESPN, also on the ESPN app, it'll be LSU with their young quarterback TJ Finley. No Miles Brennan for the rest of the year, going into College Station to take on number 5 Texas A&M, looking to make another impression on that playoff committee after the first playoff rankings were unveiled. That's tomorrow night, Saturday, 7 Eastern in the SEC. LSU and Texas A&M, a game that many times in the past has been played on Thanksgiving Day. Traditional sort of Thanksgiving weekend rivalry now that those 2 teams are in the SEC together. By the way, my apologies, the punt sort of, for me, got lost in the fog. It was a 13-yard punt as we went to break from Oregon State. So really poor special teams execution. Oregon's got great field position, and Shucks going toward the end zone. Incomplete, just a little long, intended for Devin Williams.
A 13-yard punt is a turnover, Flynn. That's what that is. And so everything has kind of gone wrong for Oregon State except for Jefferson's long touchdown run. And for Oregon State defensively now they've had a little bit of time to think and talk about things. And one thing that's critical is they've got to play more zone. Eyes have to be on the quarterback. When you know a quarterback can run this much, eyes on the quarterback. You can't play man.
Shuck looked left, now looking right, throws short right into traffic, and the ball is incomplete. I don't know if that was dropped or whether Tevin Janis just couldn't quite see it through the traffic, but it's 3rd and 10.
Yeah, good job of the Beavers really recognizing that screen and kind of jamming it up. But in this situation, you got a 3rd down now. There's always this temptation to try to bring extra pressure. You have to be wary of that when you have a quarterback who can scramble and get out on you. So you want to make sure that you do have some eyes on him.
Abibi Lakio is on the right side of Shuck, who's got time to throw. Now was pressured and he goes down. So the sack for the Beavers. And that's Anjay Hughes Murray, who it was almost like he ran into Tyler Shuck, and that turned into the sack. That's a big stop for Oregon State's defense.
Well, and they needed that from him. He's the guy who has stepped in for Addison Gums, who's out this game, and getting a big play off the edge from a backup player in this role. They needed that. That's a huge play for the Beavers.
He beat Stephen Jones there. So a loss. 4th and 20 from around midfield. Oregon's going to punt. Beavers have already blocked a couple punts this year. Didn't block that one. It will be inside the 5 and down by Oregon there at about the 1. So that's beautifully done. 2 punts that went very differently on both sides. So the Oregon State offense will be backed up against the goal line. Let's go down. We've been talking about the fog a lot. Let's check in with Shelley down on the field and see how bad it is at field level. Shelley. Well, maybe the fog is interrupting Shelley's microphone. We can't hear Shelley Smith. We know she's down there. We know she was talking.
But we can't see her either. This fog is serious.
It is getting thicker as the game goes on. So Oregon State's offense down by a touchdown. Handoff. Jefferson bounces it left side. There's that acceleration. Jamar Jefferson, another big run. Forget the bad field position. Outside the 30 for 34 yards on first down.
Oh, man. He has that burst. Watch him when he gets his ball. He is decisive and he's gone. I mean, if you think it's going to take him a couple of steps to get up to speed, he's by you at that point.
Rod, he's had 3 carries. He has 121 yards.
Listen, you know, his first 2 games against Oregon last couple of years, he didn't have big games. He's already surpassed in this game what he did in those 2 games.
He has been the offense for the Beavers in this first quarter. Under 2 minutes to go. Play fake. Jebbia, all kinds of time over the top into coverage, incomplete. So I guess nobody was open downfield because he had forever there at second down.
Yeah, a couple years ago, Jefferson had 81 yards in this rivalry on 20 carries. Last year, he only had 64 yards. And he's going to wipe out that total probably before halftime.
Combined. He's close to doing it already. 2nd and 10. Jefferson gets the ball straight ahead. This time Oregon was there. So a stop right at the line of scrimmage. Mikhail Wright and friends to make the tackle. It's 3rd and 10.
And this is an Oregon defense that has struggled to stop the run. UCLA blitzed them last week for about 265 yards. Stanford had them the opening week, ran for about 200 against them. So it's been an issue. And Oregon State had a lot of confidence coming in that they could run, but they also knew that Oregon would really load the box and try and limit that, but that hasn't helped them. Here comes the 3rd down now.
B.J. Baylor in the backfield now for 3rd down alongside Jebbia, who's pressured, hit as he throws, took a big hit, but he's got his man inside Oregon territory. That's Colby Taylor for the first down catch.
That's all Jebbia. Jebbia stayed in there and took the hit. Watch the pressure that comes in. He knows it's coming. He steps up anyway and takes the shot. That's toughness. And now you see a little zone coverage, middle not closed. They left the middle open, split safeties, and a nice route to just circle in behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties.
A flag did come in late, Rod. The catch for 31 yards. Let's see.
During the run, personal foul targeting. Defense. That plays under further review.
Wow, during the run. We do have Matt Austin with us tonight, our rules expert. So as we get a look at this, I'm sure we will look as the replay officials look to try to confirm or wipe off targeting. We'll bring in Matt and get his opinion. So during the run or at the end of the run, Matt, welcome to our broadcast. What do you think?
Well, I'm assuming it's on the hit on the receiver, and the defender does duck his head. Doesn't look like there's any kind of head-to-head contact. The shoulder may have hit into the head. It's a little difficult to tell from the different views. He is a defenseless player, but you do need an indicator.
Yeah.
You need an attack. He does look like he's going in for an attack, but
yeah, I don't see an indicator, Matt. And I see him not leading with his helmet. I think you got to go down to make the tackle. He led with his shoulder, and I think the contact was shoulder to shoulder. And I don't see an indicator for him here.
No, I agree. I mean, there is an attack. He does try to deliver a blow. I mean, he's not trying to absorb one. But I agree with you. I think this should be overturned.
Yeah,
I just don't see all the elements.
I agree.
Well, you can understand why they're taking a look at this. Verone McKinley is the player who is, at the moment, hanging in the balance. He's very important for Oregon. He's sort of their ball hawk in the defensive backfield, a young player with a lot of talent, and the Ducks are hoping that this one gets tossed aside.
And Flynn, here's the other thing. In this day and age, when players are able to keep their balance, as we saw earlier, defenders are in a tough spot. You actually have to continue and make a tackle. You got to make a play on the guy so that he's on the ground. Because the moment you don't, we see a guy put his hand down, spin out, and keep going. So he's got to make a play, and he doesn't lead with the helmet here. He leads with the shoulder. So I don't see this as a targeting call. But hey, I'm a former defensive back.
Well, no matter what, Oregon State's going to have a first down. I think we're going to get the announcement here and see whether they're taking away that targeting penalty.
After review, there is no foul for targeting. The result of the play is a first down.
Yeah, good hard play.
Okay.
Play on.
We'll hear from Matt Austin throughout our telecast tonight. We appreciate his expertise, and I think both of you guys had good explanations as to why that was not targeting. But the Beavers, who started this drive on their own 1-yard line, are now down to the Oregon 34. A couple big plays, 64 yards so far, with a first down, under a minute to go, first quarter, from Reser Stadium in Corvallis. Jefferson the handoff, and he will surge straight ahead inside the 30 for a nice first down gain.
Flynn, we talked earlier about Gebbia having pressure on him to deliver in the passing game. That last play goes a long ways to establishing that confidence and the ability to get the ball down the field to make things easier for Jefferson.
Huge. You're right. Now they'll pitch it to Jefferson on the left side. Gets a block, cuts it upfield, breaks a tackle. First down, Beavers. Down to about the 22 on what may well be the final play. They stopped the clock to move the chains, but it already is rolling again. Probably the final play of this first quarter.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Indeed it is a wild first quarter. The Ducks and the Beavers. Oregon, number 15 in the country, a big favorite. We've had big plays galore. 6 plays in the first quarter of 20 or more yards. The Beavers on the move, trying to tie this game up when we come back for quarter number 2. Mario Cristobal, the third-year head coach of the Ducks, 15th ranked team in the country. Mario trying to stay perfect in 3 tries against his rivals, the Beavers, on 1st and 10. A little pitch-back play for Oregon State, and Tyjon Lindsey picking his way forward close to the first down inside the 15. Oregon State on the move. Ducks lead 14-7. Just 1 play into quarter number 2.
Cristobal knows something about rivalry games, having been in the Florida State-Miami wide right 1, wide right 2, and he was on the sideline for Alabama for the kick 6 with Auburn a few years ago. That'll get your attention.
When we asked him about this particular rivalry, Coach Cristobal said this is as intense or more than either of those, Miami, Florida State, or Auburn, Alabama, which is saying something. Noah Sewell, who is just a tremendously talented true freshman, came into the backfield and dropped the Beavers for a loss of 3. Sewell, it's amazing, Rod, that he is on the field after what happened last week against UCLA. Carted off, literally carted off. I think everybody watching the game thought it was a season-ending injury. He doesn't miss a game. He's right back out here tonight.
He didn't miss practice. He was carted off last week, and he was in Monday's practice performing. That's just crazy.
And that was a big play. So instead of 3rd and short, 3rd and 4 inside the 20. Oregon State throws, and that one is knocked away, almost intercepted. Verone McKinley, the kid who nearly got ejected from this game for targeting, got a reprieve on replay. Makes a nice play there. It's 4th down.
77 is reporting as 89 for Oregon State. 77 playing as 89.
McKinley has great instincts. Saw him last week come up with a tremendous play on a loose ball, kind of tap it away from an offensive lineman and scooped it up himself. Had a chance to get down the sideline. It was a very, very intuitive, smart play.
So now field goal try for Everett Hayes through the fog. Hopefully the officials can see the football. They can. It's through the uprights. The field goal is good. And the Oregon State Beavers are down 4, 14-10. So the Ducks lead early second quarter in Corvallis. Rod, you mentioned Oregon and maybe a little extra pressure on them tonight for a couple different reasons. Number one, Mario Cristobal last year won the Rose Bowl, wants another Pac-12 championship this year. But the Ducks, the playoff rankings were unveiled for the first time this week. They're the 15th ranked team leading the Pac-12 North. USC has had their game this week canceled. I know you think that if the Pac-12 has any chance, and that chance may be small, but any chance to have a team as a part of the playoff this year, it could well just be the Ducks who have that opportunity.
I don't think there's any question. Oregon is the Pac-12's only hope. USC with the cancellation this weekend now is down a game. They may be down another game next week if they aren't able to get their players back. And they just don't have enough time and enough games to impress the committee. Oregon is still sitting there at number 15, and they have games that they can play. They haven't had any real COVID issues yet. And if that doesn't happen, they have a shot, but they have to be super impressive. They have not impressed the committee so far as a top team. And tonight's performance might have something to say about how the committee views them if they perform very, very well.
Yeah, I think that's the follow-up. Utah-Washington now going to be played tomorrow after the Apple Cup and Utah-Arizona State both canceled. So they rescheduled a game to get the Utes and the Huskies head-to-head. Colorado-USC, that was going to be an important game on the south side. That one canceled. Colorado was able to schedule San Diego State for tomorrow. And then just the two teams, Oregon and USC, ranked in the college football playoff top 25. And the point you made, Rod, is a good one. Look, everybody in the Pac-12, they started later than anybody else. They're making up deficits of games played, chances to be impressive, strength of schedule, all of that. So if they're going to have any sort of argument, the wins have to be super dominant, super impressive for Oregon. So far, I think they have not been 3 games into the year.
I think that's right. That's why this game is so important. It's not just the rivalry. It is where can you move yourself in the college football rankings? Can you be so impressive that the committee now starts to think of you as a possibility? Because right now, Pac-12 teams are not in the discussion.
Shuck throws short. That one is caught by his tight end, Hunter Kampmoyer, who turns it upfield and gets the Oregon first down.
Oregon State defense still struggling to get pressure on Shuck.
Tight ends. Oregon was almost out of them early in the year. Handoff to Verdell straight ahead. They've gotten a little healthier at the tight end position. Look at that power from C.J. Verdell. We've got some really talented running backs in this game. Jefferson for the Beavers. The Ducks have more than just one. That time C.J. Verdell for a gain of 8.
And Oregon State really has to come up with a way to get some pressure now. The problem is, we talked about before, keeping eyes on the quarterback because he runs. You don't want to blitz too often and play too much man coverage.
From the pistol, Verdell gets it again. First down, Oregon.
The problem, as you see right now, is that they need an extra guy around the line of scrimmage to handle the running game. Right now, Oregon is having its way when they see a 6-man box, 6 defenders near the line of scrimmage, as you see right now. They've run well against it.
Well, we haven't said the name yet tonight of Hamaka Rashid. Shuck gets rid of it, and it's almost intercepted, knocked away by Nashawn Wright, the junior, who almost had an interception. There is a flag down.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, offense number 77. 15-yard penalty, replay first down.
Plenty of penalties in this first half. That one a 15-yarder against the Ducks.
That's George
I
Moore,
think tonight,
the left tackle.
If you're talking about how can Oregon State generate some pressure, Hamaka Rashid has to be a big part of it. He has been eerily quiet in the early season for the Beavers. After last year, nobody in college football had more tackles for losses than Rashid, and he has just won all of this season. Riddell got to the 40 on first and very long.
Yeah, Fleming, you're absolutely right. Rashid has to be the All-American he was last season. And it may require Oregon State to move him a bit, move him around, get him favorable matchups so that he can have an impact on the game. Right now he's on the short side of the field. But you have to find a way to get your best players to have an impact.
He had 14 sacks last year, led the country in tackles for loss. He doesn't have a single sack yet in 2020. And he got double teamed there. Shuck throws on the move and kind of a wobbler, but he's caught a wide open receiver, and it's a touchdown for Devin Williams.
Oregon State leaves the middle of the field open. A lot of coordinators say never, ever, ever leave the middle open. Always have a safety in the middle of the field. When you play split safeties, you can wind up leaving it open, and that's what happened that time. And Williams took full advantage of the extra time his quarterback had to find that opening.
Another huge play in this first half. Devin Williams, coming off his best game, is having another good one already. A 60-yard touchdown, extra point, up and good. Ducks are 3 for 3. They're not taking anything for granted in the kicking game right now. And it's 21-10 Oregon. Well, Rod talked about Tyler Shuck's ability to create with his legs. That wasn't a running play, but he got some room and found his budding star receiver, Devin Williams. Ducks up by 11. You're watching College Football Primetime, presented by Ram Trucks. 21-10 Oregon. Another long play by the Ducks offense. Another big play. Devin Williams, 60 yards to the end zone for the Oregon touchdown. Has been an offensive dominated first half from Corvallis. Beavers will get the ball back here. Still 10:57 to go in the first half. Oregon already has 265 total yards. 4 minutes into the second quarter. That short kickoff, so the Beavers will have it after a fair catch signal. Rod, let's take a look at that last touchdown play.
Yeah, you see the 2 deep safeties. They're going to split the deep half of the field, and when that happens, the middle becomes open. Now, most teams like to protect against that by making sure that an underneath defender will run with any secondary receiver into the middle. That doesn't happen here, so the middle of the field is wide open. Oregon does a great job of using their outside receivers to stretch those safeties wide toward the sideline, leaving the middle of the field wide open. There's no underneath defender who runs deep down the middle to protect against it. So you got a problem. So when you do that, you'd like to have a Tampa 2 defense out there, which Tony Dungy made famous of making sure that when you play too deep, you got an underneath defender who goes back and protects that middle.
All right, so Oregon State, by the way, just a quick note there. They requested the ball after the fair catch to be on the left goalpost. So that's where they start from the 25, that part of the field. Jebbia throws. The ball was tipped up and incomplete. Let's go down to the field to Shelley Smith.
You guys, the weather has gotten progressively worse. The fog is rolling in. We can hardly see up into the stands. And it's gotten colder, and it's got to affect the ball because I feel condensation on my forehead. I have to keep wiping it off. So it's got to be on the ball, which would make it very slick.
All right, something to pay attention to. We'll be checking in with Shelley as we go along. I mean, certainly from our vantage point, the fog looks thicker, wetter in Corvallis. No surprise this time of year. That pass dumped short and a good open field tackle for Oregon. So it's going to be 3rd down coming up. Bradford with the catch, and Isaac Slade Matautia, who has played very well for Oregon, made the tackle.
You know, Slim, I've played in a couple of games where fog has been a factor like that, and you know, you can see what you need to in front of you. It's a little hard to see to the sidelines when it's really bad and if you're getting signals. But yeah, you do find out or feel the precipitation on your hands, and you have to make sure that you keep drying your hands or wear gloves.
3rd and 5. Oregon showed some pressure. It got picked up. So Jebbia had plenty of time, and he made a nice throw for a catch and a 1st down to Colby Taylor. Look, Rod, the numbers aren't spectacular. 4 of 8, 49 yards, but I don't think they need Jebbia to be spectacular. Just make some throws like that, be a threat, and let Jefferson do the bulk of the work, which he's done so far at running back for Oregon State.
I think that's right. We have not seen much out of the tight ends from Oregon State, which have up to this game, they've been a big part of what they do on offense.
2 on the left side. They helped block for that 2, maybe 3-yard run for B.J. Baylor, not Jefferson. Baylor, at least so far on this series.
Yeah, 2 tight ends to be over there near Thibodeau to make sure that he's accounted for. And he's a guy that Oregon State has done a decent job against so far tonight. He's not affected the passing attack that much, but he's also a guy who's really learning to play the run. You know, he's about 250 pounds, and he's normally battling 300+ tackles on each play. A little bit of a challenge.
Musgrave moves into the backfield. They're going to swing it out left side for the quick completion, and nice balance there by Taylor. He got knocked forward, and they're going to spot him still maybe a half yard short. I thought he might have stayed on balance and actually gotten there. Close.
77 is reporting as 89. 77 is 89.
So that's Jalen Bush, that number announcement. Jalen Bush, who is a backup offensive tackle, offensive lineman. He's going to be an extra tight end. So they got a power formation in there, and it is not Jebbia, it's Coletto who's going to take the direct snap, sort of a wildcat, a high school quarterback. He's now a linebacker for the Beavers. Big, strong kid, and it worked. He gets the 1st down.
He's a 240-pound backup quarterback / linebacker. Yeah, you want him on 3rd and 1. That's quite a bit to handle.
So bring in the 3rd tight end, who's really an extra offensive lineman. Get your 240 whatever pound linebacker to take the ball and just ram it straight ahead across midfield. Oregon State 1st down. Jefferson back in at tailback. They'll fake it to him. Thibodeau putting a little bit of pressure on, but that pass is complete inside the 35 to Bradford. Another Beavers 1st down. Jebbia's throwing the ball pretty well.
Yeah, you see the play action starting to work. He's a good quarterback in this situation. This works for him. He's a pocket guy. He's not a guy that's at his best when he has to move, throw on the move, but play action allows him to get in the pocket and step up and find his key read. Great throw.
That's a good point you make about that play fake. How could you not at least respect the threat when it's Jefferson back there in the backfield? He's there again on 1st down. Oregon State moving the ball effectively. They have really all 1st half. They'll fake it to Jefferson again. Jebbia's going to go down inside the 10, knocked away incomplete, intended for Beeson.
He's lucky with that one. He forced that ball into double coverage and was lucky that it didn't get picked off. What I'm waiting to see is more use of their tight ends. They've they've gone to this 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends, using it an awful lot, and they've run the ball, they've faked it, but they've not used the tight ends in the passing game. And these are 2 guys who are really, really good, and so they should be able to take advantage of that.
Luke Musgrave, who comes in motion there with a great name as a part of the history of this rivalry on the Ducks side until Luke came along. Jefferson got away from one would-be tackler, not a second. Gang tackled after no gain.
Good movement by Oregon up front. And I tell you, McKinley is really an instinctive player. We talked about his impressive play last week, and you know, the tackle in midfield where he avoided the targeting call, chance at a pick. He's really an instinctive player.
Oregon looking a little disorganized on defense as they get lined up for 3rd and 10. Borderline field goal range for the Beavers on a foggy night. Jebbia throws quickly, and that is high, incomplete. Again, trying to get to Beeson, so he sailed a couple throws there. It's 4th down.
Yeah, I wonder if you know, the fog, the slippery ball has an impact on that, because that's an easy throw, and his accuracy was completely off on that.
Well, they are going to try a long field goal. This will be interesting. Football slick, maybe with the fog. That artificial surface starts to get a little slick. This would be the long by far for Everett Hayes. This one a 48-yard try. The sophomore. And the kick through the fog, up and good. He got it from 48 yards. A career best for Everett Hayes. Well, not a touchdown, but another effective drive for the Beavers. Down the field, through the fog, and within 8, 21-13 Ducks.
ESPN College Football, presented by Ram, is brought to you by Samsung QLED TV, the official TV of ESPN College Football, and Duluth Trading Company. Tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen.
Well, Rod, you don't have to go that far back in history to find some true classics in this rivalry. The Ducks and the Beavers, Matt Moore, the Rogers brothers, LaMichael James, and many other stars in the last couple decades. Mario Cristobal, who has upped the talent level even more so at Oregon with some monster recruiting efforts, trying to build the Ducks into a national power again. They were that for a good long while. Kickoff deep. Returnable for Wright, who breaks out into the open and got tripped up but falls forward outside the 40. Nice kick return for Mikhail Wright. So the Ducks offense is going to have great field position when we come back after another quick break with Oregon up 21-13. All right, Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, Shelley Smith back with you. Corvallis, Oregon, the site. 21-13 Oregon leads the Beavers of Oregon State. Ducks ball once again. It is obvious that the fog continues to thicken in Corvallis in late November. I mean, it is a serious factor in this game. That shot from behind the Oregon offense, field level, maybe not quite as bad as what it looks like from up above. Handoff on first down for the Ducks, and another positive gain on the ground for Oregon close to midfield.
But thank goodness the Oregon Ducks are wearing the tennis ball neon yellow uniforms.
They came prepared for the fog.
Yes, they did. Helpful to us, helpful to fans. May not be able to see the Beavers, but you can see Oregon.
It can't be a disadvantage even for the players on the field to be wearing those uniforms tonight. Little play fake for Shuck. Slings it out left side, and that'll be good enough for a first down to Johnny Johnson.
Look, Flynn, I've played in some games with fog, but nothing like this. This is getting worse, and at some point it starts to impact both teams and what you can do. And offensively, you know, can you call throws down the field? I mean, what can your quarterback see? And it could get bad enough where in the secondary you may not be able to see your teammate across the field.
Some pressure comes on Shuck, who gets hit and floats one up there. It'll land incomplete, trying to hit Johnson again. That time the Beavers brought some pressure on Shuck.
Yeah. They need a little bit more of that. And and tracking the ball. If you're trying to track the ball in the air in the fog, that's got to be a challenge too. There you see the pressure coming in on Chuck. Backside pressure.
Before we sell it too much, I mean, there has been more than 500 yards of offense already in this game. Still have almost 5 minutes to go in the first half. So far it hasn't stopped these offenses from moving the ball. Shuck scrambles there. I'm not sure exactly what that play design was, but he gets 3, maybe 4 yards to set up third down. And he's hurting a little bit. He has taken a few more hits. He is definitely limping, grimacing as he gets ready for third down and 7.
And that's the risk when you run your quarterback an off wide. Yeah, and he's a target. He's 6'5". Easy to see him and get a body on him.
Dye behind Shuck on 3rd and 7. Still plenty of time on the play clock. Now Dye moves alongside the quarterback, shifts to the left side. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. They get the play snapped. Throw across the middle, and that one is knocked away. But was it intercepted? No. Incomplete.
Yeah, with this fog getting more and more difficult, from a defensive perspective, and that should have been a pick. That looked like a pick.
I think it is.
I think he got that.
Jaden Grant picked it off.
I think the official couldn't see it through the fog.
This is obviously going to be an issue for us. It's going to be an issue for you watching. In a way, it makes it kind of fun, but it also makes it a big challenge. Jaden Grant made a tremendous play there and intercepted the ball. And the referees are trying to make sure they know exactly what's going on. I don't blame them for being a little confused. A foggy night in Corvallis. Beavers come up with the turnover. All right, crazy night in this rivalry in Corvallis, Oregon. The Ducks and the Beavers. There have been a lot of crazy games in 124 meetings between these two, but this fog is a gigantic factor in the game. Jebbia on a rollout after a pitch fake, throws incomplete. It was an interception. It was hard to see. Tyler Shuck, and a great play on the ball route, I thought, by the safety Grant.
Yeah, tremendous play by Grant coming over, not in the vision of Shuck, made the play. So tremendous effort there. But if you missed it at home, you're not alone, because it's hard to see it with the fog.
So now it's 2nd and 10. We have Matt Austin with us, our rules expert, longtime official. We may end up asking Matt here soon about whether these officials are having any sort of discussion, a little jet sweep action on the right side. Matt, what do you think? What are the officials talking about with the fog and how it might be affecting this game?
Well, I'm sure it's a concern to them. I don't think the fog is as bad on the field as it is for us looking through the TV lens. The officials, they seem to be all over the interception and getting the spot. They did meet during the downtime to talk about it. If it gets to be a safety factor, this game is 100% in control of the referee.
3 minutes and 39 seconds. 3:39.
Yeah, the referee is the only person that can stop this game now. ADs and other people can come in and recommend, but it's totally in his hands. And until there's a safety factor, they're going to keep on playing. What I would look for is if you get a punt where the ball's kicked up high, can the receivers find the ball? If not, then they may stop the game.
Okay, that would be an obvious scenario where you could anticipate some sort of safety issue. 3rd and 5, handoff left side, and Oregon was ready for it. So near midfield, that gets stopped at least 2 yards short. Jefferson, not much room to run, and I would assume that the Beavers are going to punt. We'll see. Is this scenario that Matt was just talking about with the punt? Can anybody see the ball? But I don't know. Oregon State down 8 has the offense on the field.
There's been quite a move, a trend to going for it on 4th down, particularly 4th and 3 or less. The analytics have been showing that you're better off going for it, and a lot of coaches have adopted that, and it looks like we might have that here.
Second charge timeout, Oregon. 30 seconds.
Oregon is going to use a timeout as Oregon State sets up for a 4th down play. While we have a moment, let's check in studio with Matt Berry, Jesse Palmer, and Joey Galloway. Matt. All right, Matt, thank you very much. Meanwhile, back in Corvallis, speaking of things not looking quite the same here in 2020 or this weekend, things aren't looking normal on the field with the fog.
Matt Berry's mention of Notre Dame reminded me of that 2000 Oregon State Notre Dame game. That was probably Oregon State's best team that I can recall ever. But here's a key 4th down, 4th and 3. They're going to go.
Their head coach, Jonathan Smith, was the quarterback of that great Beavers team. 4th and 3. Gebbia in the shotgun. Brings his receiver in motion. And Gebbia is going to throw. It is knocked away, incomplete. So they went for it on 4th down. They threw the ball. And Oregon comes up with a stop. Thibodeau dances his way off the field.
Yeah, risky proposition, but you can understand what Jonathan Smith is thinking. He's got to find a way to keep pace, steal a possession or two. He follows the analytics, knows that 4th and 3 is recommended as when you go. Thibodeau with a great defensive play, all 6'5" of him and that huge wingspan to knock that ball down. So I understand the decision making for going for it.
You're a big underdog. There is, whether Jonathan would say it or not, there's a gigantic talent discrepancy between these two rosters. You got to take some chances, steal a possession, however you want to call it, but it didn't work. Oregon gets away with the turnover, gets the ball back, and hands it off. The Beavers defense has, Rod, shown a few signs here as the half has gone on of playing a little bit better. That was a nice tackle.
That's right. I think the first couple of series, they were caught off guard by all of the slip screens and the RPO game. And so they finally had to get themselves settled and adjusted, and they've played better since then.
Riddell after the 2-yard loss. Final 2+ minutes of this first half. Shuck now in the pocket, throws left, and that one is caught. Williams breaks a tackle, now goes backwards, and will get the first down inside the 35. Devin Williams having a big game. There is a flag on the play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 96. 15 yards tacked on to the end of the run. First down.
So that's going to be an add-on. 15-yard penalty against Simon Sandberg.
Yeah. Richard Jr. gets a late hit. You'll see it here. I wonder if he would have or should have argued, hey, I was pushed into him.
Well, that may be what he's trying to tell his coach, but that argument is not going to work on the field.
Not persuasive.
So now the Ducks inside the 20.
This is the area where you have to be really careful, Oregon State. You can't allow a back or tight end to run free. You must get a body on anybody who comes out.
Dye gets the pitch. He wants to throw toward the end zone into coverage. It's incomplete. My goodness, that was risky. Yeah. They used the running back to throw through the fog, and Akili Arnold almost picked it off.
Yeah, there is a strong tendency for Oregon to go into their bag of tricks when they get to the 20-25 yard line. And so oftentimes on tape you see people ignoring tight ends and running backs, and they run free down the field. So this is important for them to make sure that nobody runs free. You get a hand on somebody.
Oregon got away with that one. Dye now, this is what he's better at. Not throwing, but running. He's a very talented running back. It'll be third down.
He's also a pretty good receiver too. You can send him out of the backfield, and he's got really good hands. And on this 3rd and 4, I would expect him to be in the pass route.
First charge timeout, Oregon State. Please put 1 minute and 31 seconds on the game clock. 1:31.
I think that was a smart timeout. They were not organized, and Oregon was trying to go quick tempo, so the Beavers call a timeout. Meanwhile, we get to remind you that Week 12 of the NFL, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. We get it all started for you with the Sunday Countdown crew right here on ESPN, streaming on the app. All the early breaking stories, injury updates, and preview every game right up to kickoff. Of course, the NFL week has already started on Thanksgiving Day yesterday with a couple games, but the full Sunday schedule tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
You mentioned Jonathan Smith, quarterback in that 2000 Oregon State team. They had some NFL players on that squad back then.
Yes, they did. Chad Johnson, TJ Hushmanzada, great wide receiver core for the Beavers. Maybe the most talented Oregon State team in their program's history. Third and 4. Play clock
Oregon State
down to
not
5.
showing pressure.
Chuck gets it snapped and hands it off to Dye, who doesn't get there. Stopped a couple yards short. And this will be interesting, Rod, with the kicking problems that Oregon has had. Do they trust the guy who's been kicking the extra points so far in this game, or do they go for it on 4th and 2?
Well, you know, the general rule is that when you get a turnover and you consider stopping someone on 4th down or turnover, you want to make them pay for it. There has to be a price to it. So you take the points. That would be the general rule that you would follow here. So I think that's what Cristobal is thinking. Otherwise, you know, you'd go for it if you just had moved down there by yourself. But because Oregon State gave you a freebie, you want to take the free points.
Legal substitution, 12 on the field on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
Wow. So Oregon State substitutes incorrectly, or Oregon does rather, and that's going to make
This
it
penalty includes a 10-second runoff.
a little longer field goal try plus the runoff there. This is going to be the first career field goal attempt for the sophomore from Malibu. I mean, maybe they have some coastal fog in Malibu, but Henry Cattleman hasn't kicked in conditions like this very often in his football career.
That Malibu coastal fog doesn't last as long as it is
Oregon
thick.
State does not want the 10-second runoff. The clock will start on the snap.
That's right.
Okay.
Good catch by Jonathan Smith, because that would only penalize Oregon State to run off 10 seconds.
So here we go. Henry Cattleman, his first career field goal try. Cam Lewis just 1 of 4 attempting field goals so far this year for the Ducks. Good snap and hold, and that kick is right on through. How about it? Oregon may have solved some of its kicking problems with a change at that position, at least for now. That was well done by Henry Cattleman. No problem whatsoever.
And tough situation, kicking into fog. First time in a rivalry game. Comes up stellar.
I give him credit. All right, so 46 seconds to go, and Jonathan Smith, this is his 3rd year, just like Mario Cristobal, his 3rd year as the head coach of his program. He was, I mean, Rod mentioned that 2000 team. He was the quarterback, one of the great quarterbacks in the history of Oregon State football, and engineered 2 wins over the Ducks in this rivalry game. Almost 10,000 career passing yards, 55 career touchdown passes in an era where passing numbers didn't look yet like what they do in this era of college football.
Said his best memory of this rivalry as a player was that 2000 season, winning that game, kneeling down at the end of the game. Worst memory, the very next year, ending the game, throwing a pick when they had a chance. They were trying to come back. Final throw of his career.
Sort of cruel. Another fair catch. Well, this is the team you were talking about, Rod. They were good, weren't they? 2000 Beavers.
Unbelievably good. 11-1, incredibly talented. Went to the Fiesta Bowl, put a beat down on Notre Dame, 41-9, I believe. They had speed, they had physicality, they had, you know, a little flair. As Jonathan Smith said to us, his receivers were always open. They always told him that.
They were very aggressive with the Gatorade dump, too. 11 wins. Dennis Erickson took one right in the face in that Fiesta Bowl win. A dominant performance. One of the high moments in the history of this program. Engineered by the man who's now on the sideline as their head coach. He wanted the extra 10 seconds, so we'll see how aggressive the Beavers are. Jamar Jefferson is in the backfield, and they'll hand it off to him. Why not? See if he can spring another big one, but it's a 5-yard gain. Oregon State does have 2 timeouts. They're trying to go quickly here, but they got a long way to go to get into the field goal range.
Yeah, this play will determine whether they try and make something happen.
Gebbia is going to throw, and right across the first down mark. That's a completion, so momentarily the clock stops. That was Flemings with the catch. Now it starts to roll again. Gebbia pressured, and he goes down. Thibodeau with another nice play. He's having a big game. Kayvon Thibodeau, who has had a quiet
Please put 16 seconds on the game clock.
Start to the season. I'm surprised after the sack that Oregon State bothered to call the timeout.
Yeah, at that point, you just need to let the clock go and get into the locker room. An inside move by Thibodeau. You see the quickness and the strength. Dips the shoulder, dips his hip, gets beyond the lineman. Look at that. Splits that double team. You know, you see things like that, and it becomes really, really clear how talented he is.
Has to be a big thing for the Ducks to watch him play the way that he has. All right, so 16 seconds. We'll see if Oregon State continues to be aggressive this season. For every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. Well, they're acting like they're still going to chuck it around with 16 seconds to go on 2nd and 21. Instead, they hand the ball off. Jefferson will get tripped up. And now they let the clock wind. Oregon State will get the ball to start the second half. And all things considered, very much in the game despite the power of the Ducks offense. 24-13. Halftime. Matt Berry in studio. You're watching College Football Primetime, presented by Ram Trucks. As we come back for the start of the second half in Corvallis, Oregon. The Ducks, 15th ranked in the country, 3-0, with a 24-13 lead over their rivals, the Beavers of Oregon State. At the start of the second half, Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, Shelley Smith back with you. The famous Willamette Valley fog is very present in a rivalry game, Rod, that has had so many crazy games and moments in its 124-year history. We're getting another weird one again tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, the fog has been kind of the story of the game. It's impacting everything. I mean, you know, you think about what plays you can call, whether you can throw the ball down the field and the like. And it's hard on viewers, I'm sure. You know, we're trying to make sure that we see things out there. And remember, this was one thing for Oregon to think about: how impressive would you have to be tonight if you still have any kind of a shot at impressing the playoff committee. But there's nothing wrong with just trying to find a conference championship either.
That is very true. So the Ducks will play defense at the start of the second half. Let's see who's looking good today. Brought to you by DXL. A lot of big plays in that first half, Rod, on both sides.
We had a big start to this game with big plays. You know, Red with the great one hand down, keeps his balance, started the scoring with a nice run for Oregon. They got on the board that way. And then how about coming right back with an 82-yard burst by Jamar Jefferson, the star but unknown back of Oregon State. The rest of the country is finding out just how good he is now, seeing him on this stage tonight. And then come right back. Oh, how about Williams, the big 6'5", former USC wide receiver, wide open down the middle for a Duck touchdown. We've had our share of big plays in this game, and look at the yardage. Oregon has given up 166 rushing yards, almost all of that to Jefferson.
Yeah, so 299 for the Ducks total offense, but 247 for the Beavers, who are going to get the ball to start this second half. Flemings will return the kickoff, but not very far. Gets knocked backwards short of the 20-yard line. We were on pace for almost 1,100 yards of total offense in this game, and we'll see if the Beavers, big underdogs, can challenge Oregon. They moved the ball. They had to settle a couple times, Rod, for field goals. They went for it on fourth down, did not get it, but I think they have to be overall pleased with the way their offense played.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think they want a little bit more out of the passing attack. We talked about the pressure being on Gebbia, because right now it's been Jamar Jefferson. You see his first two games in his career, not overwhelming, but tonight he is etching his name in the history books of this rivalry.
Yeah, his biggest games had not come head-to-head against Oregon in his already brilliant Oregon State career. He'll get the ball first play of the second half, and Jefferson has a nice run on first down, dragged down by Noah Sewell, the very talented true freshman.
Jefferson has really good vision. You know, we studied him all week, and no matter which tape you put on, you see a guy who's patient. He sees the hole, and when he sees the hole, he does not waste any time. He anticipates the blocks pretty well. He's a really good back.
2nd and 5. Tight end Luke Musgrave goes in motion. And they give it to Jefferson again, who cuts it back to the left and stumbles forward. That was well played by both Thibodeau and Sewell, because I thought when he made that cut that Jefferson had a chance for another big gain. Instead, it's 3rd and 1.
Agreed. I thought he was on his way, but nice job by Sewell. And Sewell, I'm still amazed at him. The fact that he's out there playing after being carted off the field last week. He's a 250-pound linebacker who moves like he's a safety.
Well, Jack Coletto's coming back in, the Wildcat quarterback. High school quarterback, now a converted linebacker. And B.J. Baylor next to him on 3rd and short. They fake it, and Coletto's going to throw over the top, incomplete. Trying to get it to Pretoriano, and it's 4th and 1. Wow, the Beavers
overthought that one, right?
I think they did.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're trying to have a good opening drive. Your first possession, 3rd quarter. You've got a 240-pound back. You've already used him once and pounded your way. You need 1 yard. You're running up against a defense that has had trouble, you know, stopping the run. Go get the first down. Jam it down their throat. You don't have to get fancy and try and throw the ball.
You know, maybe a different part of the field where you'd be willing to go for it if it doesn't work on 4th down. But that part of the field, that just seems like overthinking it. A bounding punt that's going to turn out very well for the Beavers. Still rolling inside the 20 and down close to the 15-yard line. Well, tomorrow night, right here on ESPN, LSU, Texas A&M. And obviously for Oregon, they need a lot of teams ahead of them, even if they can keep winning, to stumble if they have any sort of chance in the playoff race. And Texas A&M is one of those teams, number 5 in those initial playoff rankings. That's tomorrow, 7 Eastern on ESPN. It'll stream live on the app.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen, because each week we see more and more games postponed or canceled, and we're limping along towards the finish. Who knows how many games any team will play this season.
Yeah, you never know. That punt ended up 56 yards. C.J. Verdell wrestled down in the backfield, lost a yard on first down. Tell you what, Anjay Hughes-Murray is playing a heck of a game. He has been all over the place for the Beavers defense.
He has stepped in for Addison Gums and has done a terrific job. He's been really active. You know, he's really made plays in the backfield. A lot of penetration.
He's had 3.5 tackles for loss already in this game. Just a couple minutes into the second half. 2nd and 11. Tyler Shuck finds Verdell out of the backfield, who had the ball knocked away. He had it in his hands, but a big hit there. So it falls incomplete.
Yeah, that's Oladapo making that play, and there's an adjustment. Remember the opening couple of drives, Oregon had their way with those little passes to their backs to the flat. Not now, not since then. Oregon State wised up to it, adjusted to it, assigned a man to it, and now that no longer works for Oregon.
Ducks have not converted a 3rd down since their first drive of the game, which is hard to believe. They haven't had a lot of them. 3rd and 11. It's a screen play, and that one was read well by the Beavers. Gets a yard, 2, maybe 3, but not close. Omar Spates led the way, and that feels big. Oregon State gets the stop.
Omar Spates, that front, keeping the linebackers free. They were able to get over and stop that. Oregon State has a chance to get some momentum. They're in this ball game.
So Oregon State tried something that didn't work on offense, but their defense is going to get the ball back. And perhaps in pretty good field position. We'll see. Tom Snee, the punter, native of Melbourne, Australia, booms one up into the fog. No fair catch signal, though, and this one returnable into Oregon territory. Trevon Bradford with a nice return. So the special teams play for Oregon State makes a difference. Beavers get the ball in great field position now, and we'll take a break. Come back right after this with the Ducks up by 11.
Change, an everlasting change. I'm excited to be part of this change. Thank you to all who have put their time and effort into this. Forever grateful.
That was former Oregon quarterback Dennis Dixon, who was the catalyst behind the change of this game from the Civil War to just now the Oregon State game. Dennis, I talked to him this week. He said it was time for a change. Everybody wanted it. He spoke with current and former players and current and former Oregon State players, and then the two presidents got together and made the change.
On first down, thank you, Shelley. And a change that I think Shelley's right, from so many on both sides of this great historic rivalry, was welcome in a year where so many of us have been more aware than ever of issues of racial injustice. The Civil War nickname, which has been around for almost 100 years, no more in this Oregon State rivalry.
Well, the two presidents and the two head coaches both said, look, you know, words matter, and it was clear those words hurt a lot of people, and it was time to change it. And there's still a minority of folks who believe that the tradition outweighs that, but they've made this decision and moved forward with it, and by and large the community seems to be pleased with the change.
Well, and as Shelley said, it wasn't just Dennis Dixon, although he spearheaded it. Ken Simonton, Steven Jackson, two all-time Oregon State greats, also got involved with the presidents, with the athletic directors, in making the case that words matter, and that nickname for this long, great rivalry was no longer appropriate. And I think you're right, Rod. There are some people who will miss the tradition of calling it the Civil War. But it seems to me that it was the right thing to do. Jefferson bounces away from one tackle, but not another one. Thibodeau is playing a heck of a game tonight. It's going to be third down for the Beavers in scoring position here.
He's been frustrated most of the season. You know, he's faced double teams. He's had 300-pound linemen just sit on him, and this is his night. He has really stepped up tonight and found his rhythm and played really well. And this is what you can expect from him. He is an outstanding player. He's an impact player. He can wreck your offense if you do not account for him.
So big play here, 3rd and 4 inside the 15. They'll give it to Jefferson, and he will power forward. Got very close. It's going to depend on the spot. It looks like he got a pretty good spot. Don't tell Oregon State about getting a good spot or a bad spot in this part of the field. Their game against the University of Washington a couple weeks ago ended in frustration. This time, we'll see.
It looks like they may not be given the first down here, but this is a no-brainer. We thought they should have gone before and run the ball. They definitely should go here.
Okay, very short, 4th down, and
the ruling on the field with the runner was short of the line again is under further review.
All right, so they're going to take a look and see if they got the spot right.
Yeah, and we've talked about, you know, Flynn, you and I, the options they had, and we talked about Coletto being a 240-pound back, but remember, as you said to me, they may have the best running back in the conference in Jefferson, and don't take the ball out of his hands either.
Yeah, that's all good points. And we'll get back to that, assuming that the call stands. Matt Austin is with us, our rules expert for this game tonight. Matt, these have to be some of the toughest calls for officials and for replay officials especially. How can you see?
Well, without a shot right down the line, it's going to be almost impossible to overturn this. Anything from behind pushes the action forward, so it's going to look like he got more forward progress than he probably did. So I would expect it to stand.
After review, the ruling of the runner is short. 4th down stands.
Okay, so now it stands, and now, Rod, we turn to the point that you were making of what does Oregon State do?
Yeah, they go. You know, this became a 4-down decision the moment they took possession in Oregon territory. And when you've got a couple of options in running the ball, including Coletto at 240 pounds and Jefferson, you have to go after this, and you have to run the ball and pick it up.
Gebbia sneak, Jamar Jefferson carry. We'll see. 4th down and very short. Gebbia goes over the top, and I'm sure he got there. Well, that should be a 1st down and 1st to goal Beavers. Yeah, he definitely did.
You know, Flem, Oregon State has almost 200 yards rushing against this defense. And this Oregon defense has given up a lot on the ground most of the season. But this is not the biggest offensive line. This is a line that is smaller but mobile, and they have really taken the fight to Oregon's front.
Some huge runs that have added to that tally, but you're right. Better than 8 yards per carry for the Beavers in this one. Play fake. Gebbia toward the end zone, and it is caught. That's a touchdown for the Beavers. Zariah Beeson, the true freshman, as Oregon State gets closer.
What a throw. And Gebbia had to fit this in over a couple of defenders. You saw the tennis ball yellow beautiful jerseys in front of him, yet he manages to get this ball up over them. Look at that throw. Perfect. Just beyond Lenore.
And I think they're going for 2, Rod.
Yeah, too early. Too early to go for 2. Not too early. Don't start chasing points. Do it in the 4th quarter.
Down 5. Gebbia throwing again toward the end zone. This one is caught but out of bounds. Hung on to by Luke Musgrave, but they say out of bounds, so the 2-point conversion fails.
Yeah, kick the PAT, get yourself closer, keep the pressure on, and wait until you get to the 4th quarter to try the 2-point conversion.
So Luke Musgrave just could not quite stay in bounds. Did a good job of hanging on to the football. He wants to see it.
And
maybe we'll all see it when we come back.
All the coaches use say, go for 2 when you're down by 5, but they never take into account where you are in the game. Great catch for the touchdown. Bad decision on the 2-point conversion.
ESPN College Football, presented by Ram, is brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. Tough, ingenious workwear designed and tested by tradesmen. And the Lincoln Wish List Sales Event.
Well, in a year where we feel so fortunate just to have college football and have a rivalry game, where so many rivalries, including one of the oldest, Wisconsin-Minnesota, canceled this week. But we certainly do miss the fans in Corvallis tonight through the fog. The Beavers within 5, 24-19, and really playing the Ducks tough. Mikhail Wright with the kick return out to the 26, 8:49 to go in quarter number 3. The Oregon offense did not move the ball first time they had it here in the second half. So now Tyler Shuck and company back on the field.
You know, you're right. It's important for Oregon to get something going because they were completely shut down on their opening drive of the 3rd quarter.
Yards per play, very even. Total yardage, time of possession. I mean, this game is being played very closely right now, despite the fact that Oregon was a big favorite. Little handoff straight ahead to Travis Dye for a 5-yard gain. Anybody who spent any time in Oregon in the Willamette Valley knows that fog is a big part of life there. There haven't been as many football games affected by the fog. One famous one, Rod, we remembered back in 2004, #1 USC and Reggie Bush. It was a close, hard-fought game. They ended up winning. That was a fog-dominated game, as we're getting here tonight.
Very much so.
Second and 6. Shuck steps up and throws with a flag down. I don't think he threw the ball, which again, our cameras, you just feel for everybody there trying to navigate this game through the fog. He kept it and got tackled, but there is a penalty flag down. Not easy to be operating a camera tonight in these conditions.
No.
Cold, wet, and also
There is no
you
foul
can't
for
see.
defensive holding. The result of the play is a first down.
Okay. No defensive holding. I don't know that he got a first down. Maybe he did. Did he get a good enough spot to get the first down?
Well, clearly,
I guess so.
Clearly, that's what they're giving him. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he took off on his own. Yeah.
So they spotted him for 6. Now they may
I
be
think
talking
they're still
about that
talking about
aspect
it.
of
Yeah.
it.
I mean, that's a generous spot.
The first down was on the 26-yard line. The chains are incorrectly set. The runner made the line to gain. It's first down.
Okay, blame the chain gang. Steve, go for it.
I confess, it's their fault.
All right. So at the 36, that is a 1st and 10 Oregon. Crazy night in Corvallis. And a good game. Shuck with Dye behind him. Hands it off again. Dye breaks a tackle, slips through, gets another first down. And Travis Dye, some real tough running there, gets 15 yards.
Breaking tackles, running through contact. The good backs do that. Watch him here. He'll get hit right off the bat. Keeps churning, keeps driving. Take some guys for a ride.
Quick snap. Shuck slings it out right side. That's Johnny Johnson with a block. Cuts it upfield all the way down to the 30. 19 more yards for the Ducks.
And the tempo should kick in for Oregon right now. They've got Oregon State on their heels. You see them rush to the line of scrimmage. Tempo should increase.
Here it is, increasing. Dye still in the backfield. He will get it again straight ahead. Another huge hole and a great cut to the 10. Dye to the 5 and all the way down close to the 3-yard line. Travis Dye, 26 on the ground.
The tempo causes problems. I'm not even sure that Oregon State got lined up correctly. They didn't have an edge guy there, and the guy who was on the edge goes inside, leaving that hole on the outside.
Bibi Laquillo moves to the side of Shuck. 1st and goal, Oregon. Now they'll check to the sideline. Last 3 plays, 15 yards, 19 yards, 26 yards. So quickly down the field, Oregon. Shuck runs forward, chucks it to his tight end. Touchdown. Camp Moyer.
Now that drive was as good and as typical of an Oregon drive as you're going to see. A little bit of everything down here on the goal line. Pull out a little bit of the tricks. Fake the block with the tight end. And instead of the jump pass over the middle, a little jump pass to the outside.
6 plays and 74 yards. Very impressive.
Didn't take
for
long.
Oregon. It did not.
2 minutes.
Henry Cattleman, the brand new place kicker who, as far as we can tell, has never played a football game until tonight. He's been a soccer player, at least was in high school. He looks pretty good in the pads. Makes another kick. That's the jump throw that Rob was talking about that capitalizes the drive for Oregon. Quick, long touchdown drive for the Ducks. 4 plays on the ground, 2 through the air, including the 4-yard touchdown to Hunter Kampmoyer. Oregon's lead back up to 31-19 after the Beavers had cut it down to 5. So Mario Cristobal's team, a good answer. Still a long way to go. 6:43 to go. 3rd quarter from foggy Corvallis, Oregon. Kickoff will be relatively short, and they're going to pitch it and now throw it back. My goodness. Trying some special teams trickery. Champ Flemings cuts it upfield. Flag thrown. They may have thrown it forwards, not backwards. If the play stands, it actually worked out pretty darn well, but I don't know.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 53 of the receiving team. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. First down.
Okay, it was just a block. in the back. That was the penalty on the return. Well, meanwhile, on that last drive, Rod, the Ducks ground game with Travis Dye got going again.
Yeah, big run player. Now remember, they're going with tempo, so you don't have a lot of time. 3 gaps here you got to cover, and a little confusion. Only a couple of guys there to cover those 3 gaps, and Dye is fully aware that he's got choices here. A lot of gaps open, nobody in them. And tempo can do that to you. Tempo can make things speed up. You don't think through. You don't have a chance to get everybody aligned properly or with the right responsibilities.
Well, that penalty ends up being, what, a 30-plus yard difference in field position. Jefferson, tough run for maybe 4 on first down. It was going to be at the 43. Instead, the Beavers start at the 8. So that's a big difference in starting field position for Oregon State.
Yeah, listen, not to beat a dead horse here, but remember that 2-point conversion? If you kick a PAT, it's still a 2-possession game, right? I mean, you're down 11. So just saying, you wait and see how things play out a little bit.
This throw caught for an Oregon State first down. I will give the Beavers credit. When you're an underdog and when you're outmanned in terms of just talent on the field, I don't think anybody would dispute that in this rivalry game. They've gone for it a couple times on 4th down. They've tried some trick stuff. They are trying to be as creative as they can against a team as powerful as Oregon is.
That is a fair point. And the other thing to note is that this rebuild that Jonathan Smith is doing is way ahead of schedule. This team has been incredibly competitive this year.
I agree with that. He took over a situation that was not good at all. And Oregon State's on its way. Jefferson, nice run straight ahead. It helps to have that guy, Jamar Jefferson, just a tremendous talent in the backfield, having a huge game.
Well, Slim, we both have seen all the lists over the years about the toughest jobs in college football, and Oregon State was always on that list. And Jonathan Smith said he never bought it, never believed it, because he lived success here. He knew exactly what it would take and why he was interested in taking the job. He really believes that he can turn it around. He's doing that.
Yeah, he saw it up close and personal. Another big run for Jefferson. He is close to 200 yards on the ground in this game. First down, Beavers. He has now set an all-time rivalry record, school record against the Ducks for Oregon State, 193 yards on the ground.
Really great block up front by Nathan Eldridge to spring Jefferson. Jefferson starting to make himself a legend in this rivalry.
1st and 10. Jebbia, play fake, will throw over the middle. He's got a man. That's one of his tight ends, and that's Luke Musgrave for another Oregon State first down into Ducks territory.
That is the first catch, as far as I can tell, that Musgrave has made, and his running mate Vitoriano hasn't had a catch, or maybe just one catch today. He had a big game last week. So the tight ends really have been missing in action tonight for Oregon State.
Jebbia, meanwhile, again, not huge numbers, but he has largely been effective in this game. B.J. Baylor in the backfield. Instead, they fake it to him and hand it off left side running. And Tyjon Lindsey pushed out of bounds. Let's check in with SportsCenter and Michael Eaves. It's quite a tease. 2nd and 4.
Michael knows how to deliver it.
Oregon State down 31-19. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Handoff left side. That is Baylor, who gets tripped up a good 2, maybe 2.5 yards short of the first down.
I tell you, Thibodeau is playing a whale of a game. I mean, for a guy who, you know, people question, hey, how good is he as a run defender? He's been impactful in the run game today. I mean, he blew that play up. Didn't make the tackle, but he destroyed that play right off the bat. You see he's got a sack, 7 tackles. This is by far his best game of the season.
Even his coaches were talking to us, Rod, about how they wanted to see a little more focus from their ultra-talented sophomore. Handoff, and that's going to be a first down for Jefferson and more. Great run again. Jamar Jefferson inside the 25, and that might get him right to 200 yards on the game. In fact, over that.
What a player. He was a guy that, coming out of high school, wanted USC to want him, but USC didn't want him. He came up to Corvallis, fell in love with the place, and has just become a star.
You know, the end of that play was interesting. I don't know if you noticed that, Rod. Dede Lenore ripped the ball away, thought he had come up with the ball, but Jefferson had already gone out of bounds. Now they blow the play down. I wonder if they want to take a look at that.
First charge timeout, Oregon. 30 seconds
Oregon
in
calls
length.
the timeout. And who knows? Maybe the Ducks are motivated to call a timeout and ask if the officials would take a look.
I thought he was already out of bounds when the ball was ripped out.
Ooh, I don't know.
Well, Lenore may have been out of bounds when he ripped it out.
True.
So either way, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Matt, do you have an opinion on this play?
The ball was coming loose. The defensive player was out of bounds, which causes the ball to become dead. Oregon is challenging the ruling on the field.
I think our original thought, as what the officials thought, was that, look, you know, he was out of bounds when he got the ball. And
I think that's exactly right.
Definitive since then.
I don't know. That right foot stayed in bounds for a long time.
Does he have control and possession of the ball, Matt?
Well, the ruling is if a defender can be out of bounds and touch the ball if it's still in possession of the runner. But the split second that ball comes loose from the runner, if he's out of bounds, that puts the ball out of bounds. Therefore, you really can't have a possession change if the defender's out of bounds when he gets possession of the ball.
Okay.
So then the follow-up question would be, did he somehow get possession before that right foot ever went out of bounds? I'm not sure we can tell that, but I think it's close.
Yeah, but remember, you need definitive evidence to make that call, to overturn the call on the field. Irrefutable.
I mean, he's not out of bounds until there. From that angle, I think he might have the ball before he steps out of bounds.
Well, we got to see his feet here. That right foot there, you think that one's in bounds? Yeah. I don't know that he has control of it, though. If the ball is just away from Jefferson and the ball is moving, then he doesn't have control of it.
Yeah. Plus, I think he dragged his foot as he went out of bounds.
Is that movement enough to say, yeah, he didn't have firm control yet?
I'm just not seeing enough video evidence to turn this over.
That's close, though.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so big ruling coming up here from the replay official.
The ruling on the field, that the ball carrier did lose possession, but there was no clear recovery. There was no possession of the ball by the defense until he was already out of bounds. Therefore, it's a loose ball out of bounds. The ruling's confirmed.
All right, Matt, do you think they got that one right?
Oregon is charged with a timeout.
Yes, I do.
They've used their challenge for the game.
So they lose their challenge. They're charged with a timeout. I don't know. If I'm Mario Cristobal, that one was worth looking at. I think that was close enough where I don't mind him using that timeout to have him look at that one.
Agreed. It was worth it.
And I think ultimately Rod's breakdown of exactly what the replay officials were looking at, and Matt's as well, was correct. And he just couldn't quite establish that full control before that foot stepped out of bounds. So the Oregon State Beavers have 1st and 10. Play fake. Jebbia is going to throw toward the end zone. And it is a jump ball and maybe intercepted, but out of bounds. Mikhail Wright incomplete.
Yeah, timing was off on that route and that throw. It was a double move, and the ball was delivered late and out of bounds. Great effort over there to come up with it by Wright.
2nd and 10, Oregon State. This is part of the field where they've been pretty aggressive, so who knows? Maybe not settling for field goals anymore as we near the end of the 3rd quarter. Vitoriano, the tight end, went in motion there. Handoff, Jefferson. Left side, Jefferson lowers the shoulder against Lenore, the guy who just tried to rip the ball away from him. He drives Lenore out of bounds. He gets 9.
21 carries already for Jefferson, 211 yards, and he finished.
Number 77
that
is reporting as 89. 77 is reporting as 89 for Oregon State.
Lowering the shoulder.
What a great player he is. So the 3rd tight end, the extra offensive lineman, Jalen Bush, comes in for short yardage, 3rd and 1. Jefferson gets it. Jefferson has the Oregon State first down.
Rivalry games, you make your names. You make your name, you become a legend in these types of games. And Jefferson is putting up numbers that will leave him in the record books for this rivalry.
He's already set an Oregon State record for this rivalry matchup for rushing yards. He's getting close to the all-time rushing record in the history of this game. We'll be watching that closely. 1st and 10. For the moment, he comes off the field.
Where are your tight ends? Where are the tight ends for Oregon State?
And off Baylor, and Baylor gets just a yard.
I gotta believe the last 2 plays are setting up the play action to get one of their tight ends free down here near the goal line.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
Final play of the 3rd quarter, and a good one. Oregon State trying to get even closer. 31-19, Ducks lead. On ESPN, Thanksgiving weekend college football and a great traditional rivalry game. Oregon with a 31-19 lead as we go to quarter number 4. Tyler Shuck has been very solid. Jamar Jefferson having a record-setting game for the Beavers. Total yardage very close. Lots of the numbers are close on the scoreboard. Ducks have the 31-19 lead, but as we start quarter number 4, Oregon State inside the 15-yard line, 2nd and 9. Jamar Jefferson back in the game alongside his junior quarterback Tristan Gebbia. And now moves behind Gebbia to take the handoff. Jefferson ran into a wall of bright yellow.
Oregon defensively led by Scott had that one sniffed out. Scott comes to the sideline. They slanted their defense and brought their linebackers in that direction. So they were expecting that stretch play to the left side and handled it. Now you got 2 downs, Oregon State.
Yeah, because you made the point about going for 2 and not getting it, and now a field goal maybe isn't as impactful. We'll see. Pressure comes. Gebbia throws. He's got his man, but it's caught, and his receiver Jefferson falls down. He was falling backwards. So that stopped short of a first down. Now it's 4th down. What does Jonathan Smith want to do?
Yeah, well, he's got to go. He's got no choice here. And that throw, I understand what Gebbia wanted to do. He wanted to go back shoulder to keep him away from the defender, but pulled the string on it too much. Had it been a little bit further, they'd pick up the first down. But now I think you got to think in terms of either you're trying to get a tight end loose down here, or you just got to trust in Jefferson.
Jefferson is in the game. It's 4th and 3. Huge play. They give it to Jefferson straight ahead. He's got the first down toward the goal line. And he's spotted short, but a huge quick burst from Jamar Jefferson. And I think you said it, Rod. Just give the ball to number 6. Don't mess around.
And not just his burst. I mean, the push up front was phenomenal.
Now Gebbia will sneak it forward and into the end zone, I believe. No signal yet. Through the fog, touchdown.
Wow. That 4th down run, though, man, that was remarkable. I mean, there was no pretense about it. They just went right at Oregon. You see the sneak here by Gebbia to get in the end zone. But that 4th down run, it was, look, we're just going to be more physical. We're going to be tougher. We're going to give it to our main guy, and we're going to run it right down on you. And they did.
31-25. They'll line up for the extra point here with Everett Hayes. His kick is right on through. Oregon State is not going away in this game. There is a flag down on that point after try. Offsides against Oregon now. Does Jonathan Smith think
Offside
about
defense number 5? That penalty's declined. The result is a good extra point.
Okay, I thought
timeout.
maybe he might consider going for 2 after the offsides, but no, he'll take the point. Jefferson with a record-setting night for the Beavers. Big underdogs, but hanging right with the Ducks. It's 31-26. Well, that man right there, one of the great running backs in all of college football, Jamar Jefferson, having a monster game, helping Oregon State hang with the Ducks. 31-26, 13:26 to go, 4th quarter from foggy Corvallis, Oregon. Jonathan Smith looking for a breakthrough win. He had a big win last week against Cal. It was an important win, but trying to totally rebuild his Beavers football program, where he was a star quarterback for 4 years a couple decades ago. They have taken some good steps forward. This, Rod, I think if they could pull this one off, would be a giant leap forward.
Well, he certainly believes so. He said so. He said, look, you know, that signature win beating Oregon would send a message across the state. It would send a message to recruits, and it would tell people across the country, you know, Oregon State is to be reckoned with. They're here. And you can see by watching them play, they're not a flash in the pan. This is a solid, physical, come-at-you team that doesn't quit, doesn't go away. They're back in this ballgame.
Mikael Wright, very dangerous, setting up for the kick return. And he will get to the 20 with a penalty flag down.
Illegal block in the back on the return, number 48 of the return team. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
That didn't take long, that announcement. Our drive recap brought to you by Enterprise. That last drive for the Beavers, Rod.
Yeah, Oregon State relying on their main man, and why not? I mean, Jefferson has been the star tonight. I mean, he showed you flat-out speed. He showed you his ability to run through tackles. And when you need a key throw, Gebbia has come up with that. Not big numbers, but key throws and a key sneak to get into the end zone. So they're back at it, and can't overlook that offensive line that's really helped this young man to this record-breaking night. Look at the numbers.
I memean, Oregon's got an excellent rushing attack, really one of the better running teams in all of college football. Jefferson better than everybody tonight, as I think the Willamette Valley fog is starting to lift a little bit with 13:20 to go. That's Dye, who will get brought down. Avery Roberts, part of the Beavers defense. Omar Spates there as well to make the tackle.
We can see clearly now. The fog is lifting.
8-4 on the play, 2nd down and 6.
By the way, we should make a note, Rod, since we're in the 4th quarter and it's a close game. We got some clarification from the officials there. Even though they announced something very different, Shuck throws, and that one is into coverage and intercepted, picked off. Deshaun Wright comes up with the Beavers turnover.
And that's one that Shuck wants back. He made up his mind the moment the ball was snapped. There was nobody open. He throws directly into coverage. He stares there and he lets it fly. He does not even see or give much regard to the fact that you've got coverage out there. Deshaun Wright, a big corner out of East Palo Alto, 6'4", 190 pounds. His brother Rajon is also on the team, also a corner. You may recall if you watched the Last Chance U show. He and his brother were featured on that, and the recruitment of Rajon to come join his brother at Oregon State, and that's a huge, huge takeaway.
So the Beavers inside the 35 could take the lead if they get to the end zone. Trying to get there right now. The completion inside the 10 and down inside the 5. It's going to be 1st and goal for Oregon State. Colby Taylor with the catch.
All Jebbia. What patience. And he put the ball right where he needed to. He had his guy out front, and he didn't overthrow him.
Got to the line quickly, handed it off to Jamar Jefferson into the end zone. Touchdown. Oregon State in the 4th quarter has gone ahead.
Just like that. Wow. Flynn, we were talking about the competitive nature of this team and how tough and strong they are, and that they're not a flash in the pan. And in a matter of about 2 minutes, they wiped out Oregon's lead.
And on that run, Jamar Jefferson set a new series record. This is the 124th time these two teams have played, and nobody in the history of this matchup has run for more yards in a single game than Jamar Jefferson, who is in the backfield as Oregon State lines up for another 2-point attempt here.
As they should. This is the time to go for it.
Jebbia is going to sneak it ahead, and he dives forward to get the 2 points.
You talk about your momentum swings. Defense leading to offense. Right with the big pick, setting it up, and then the perfect throw, setting up Jefferson into the end zone. The Beavers are in control.
Is presented by Ram, built to serve, and in part by Samsung QLED TV, the official TV of ESPN College Football.
What a game in Corvallis. The fog is lifted, but the Oregon State Beavers, big underdogs against their rivals, have gone ahead with a heck of a sequence over the last couple of minutes. 34-31, 15 points for Oregon State in the last minute and 3 seconds. And it's not right. It's a fair catch made by the Ducks. All right, with that, it's time for our Aflac trivia question. I like this one, Rod. The last scoreless tie, and presumably will forever be the final scoreless tie in FBS college football. When was it?
Huh. Okay, that's a good one.
It's our Aflac trivia question.
I have ideas, thoughts.
Yeah. A game very different from this one, where we've had tons of offense. Travis Dye still in the backfield. C.J. Verdell went to the locker room. We've got no word. Oregon doesn't give any word, but we may not see C.J. Verdell. That would be a big loss for Oregon, as talented as Dye is. The catch made by Jalen Redd. It'll be 2nd down Ducks.
Yeah, and this drive is a test of Oregon's championship medal. Things have gone poorly the last few minutes. How do they respond?
Chuck off that interception, hands it off. Dye got drilled and dropped for no gain.
Big 3rd down now for Oregon. What's worked? Getting the ball out into the flat, short throws, using Redd, getting Williams involved. Those are the things that have helped them when they needed to have a throw.
Johnson in motion. Handoff straight ahead. Dye's going to get it. Travis Dye with the 1st down run for Oregon. I just want to clean one thing up, Rod. We were starting to talk about it when Shuck threw the interception a moment ago. Oregon has all 3 of their timeouts. The referee announced that Oregon lost a timeout and lost their challenge. They went back and decided they were already looking at the play in question, so they did not charge Oregon with its challenge or with a timeout. So with 11 minutes to go, I think it's important to point out that they have all 3 timeouts.
They may need it.
Chuck is going to run, and he'll slide across the 40, so he'll settle for a shorter gain and avoid a big hit potentially.
Continue to see zone defense on the back end by Oregon State because of the concern of Chuck taking off like that. You want eyes on him, eyes on the quarterback.
Hand off, Dye breaks a tackle, spins away, stays on his feet, gets to midfield. Now a shove at the end of the play by Devin Williams, and here comes a penalty flag.
Unnecessary.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit out of bounds, number 18 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Okay, so the late hit, they did not get Williams for the shove. They got the late hit that came before it.
Yeah, it's often with the late hit, the little shove at the end. And listen, it makes sense because it's dangerous over by those sidelines. You push somebody out beyond that, they can get injured. We've seen players get injured with things like that. So appropriate to throw the flag for that.
So here comes Oregon with that first down plus the extra yardage. The run inside the 30 for a gain of 2. That's a Bibi Lakio, usually reserved for goal line type situations, but a carry for 2 yards there.
So here comes the bag of tricks for Oregon. If you are Oregon State defensively, no one runs by you, no tight end, no back. Don't fall for that. You have to hit any guy who tries to get by you.
Play fake, Shuck over the top. That pass is incomplete. Intended for Johnson, who got his hands on it. Tight coverage, and Johnson just could not quite finish that catch.
Yeah. Well, Wright's having himself a night. There's great coverage there, making it as difficult as possible on the receiver. Really good coverage, and that's right after he got the pick. So Nahshon Wright up for the challenge.
3rd and 7. Does Oregon consider this field goal range where the kicker is playing the first football game of his career? Shuck across the middle. That's caught by the tight end Cam Moyer inside the 10 and dragged down finally inside the 5.
Yeah, it's just what we were talking about, Flynn. Tight ends and running backs down here. Don't let them run free because they are the guys that get ignored, and Oregon loves to do that down here. You ignore them and you wind up paying for it. Oregon State paying for that one.
1st and goal, Ducks. Shuck gets the call from the sideline. Now ready to go. Keeps it. Shuck straight ahead, and he got lifted in the air and dropped back down just shy of the goal line.
You feel good about your quarterback going head first like that? You want him to stay on the field. He got a real shot there. That's Jaden Grant, picking him up.
And Shuck, I think he is feeling the effect. He's taken a lot of hits, not just this week, but last week as well. UCLA hit him a bunch of times. 2nd and goal. Bibi Lakio will take the ball, and he powers his way in. Touchdown, Oregon.
Good response by the Ducks, showing their mettle, coming right back after a rough 2 or 3 minute period in which Oregon State took control, coming right back down here. A couple of key plays. That tight end drag route, huge play to get them inside the 5 to set up that short run.
10 plays, 75 yards. Oregon back up by 3. And this is a big extra point for young Henry Cattleman, who's having a heck of a game. It's up and good. He has delivered. So with 8:27 to go, Oregon, after the blitz from Oregon State, 2 quick touchdowns from the Beavers, answer with a touchdown of their own. beat up over the last couple of weeks, but is hanging in there. Another solid performance for him. Couple interceptions, but a rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns for the sophomore, playing in his first rivalry game, and he's got the Ducks back up 38-34. 8:27 to go, fourth quarter from Research Stadium, Corvallis, Oregon. Beavers will get the ball back after this kickoff, with Champ Flemings returning it. One of the littlest players, maybe the littlest in college football. He's got some quickness, and he's got the ball out to the 30-yard line.
Size matters not.
All right, let's ask and answer our Aflac trivia question. The last scoreless tie in FBS football. And of course, the answer is
Oregon State.
Good guess. What year? 1983.
I wasn't going to be good with the year, but I knew it was these two. It was in the 80s, I knew.
A game that will forever be known in the annals of this rivalry as the Toilet Bowl. Nothing. 5 interceptions, 11 fumbles, 4 missed field goals. Safe to say this game's been a lot better than that. Nice pass, Jebbia, complete for a first down. Oregon State, Trevon Bradford, who is an Oregon kid, grew up in this state as a part of this rivalry. The senior perhaps playing in his final game against the Ducks. First down, Beavers.
Jebbia knows about this rivalry now this week. Even though he's not from the area, he's got a couple of offensive linemen who are, and after practices this week, they explained to the team the intensity and what it means and how the state and families are divided.
There's a quick hitter out to the right side. That's Colby Taylor. He's had a nice game, and with some run after the catch, ball scored it out, but I think for sure he was down. That's how they're ruling it on the field. Taylor may
First down.
Need to come out of the game.
Yeah. Flem, remember way back in the first quarter, we talked about the pressure on Jebbia to perform, to have a nice night so Jefferson could do his thing. Well, he's been 15 of 24, $195, and here in the fourth quarter, his throws have been on target. He is handling the pressure well. He's got his team in position to take this down to the wire.
He's 9 for his last 10. The Beavers are into Oregon territory with 7 minutes to go. Fake it to Jefferson. Jebbia rolls, throws, and hits his tight end, who is fighting inside the 40, down to the 39 and close to the 38-yard line.
Now starting to get
with the
big
catch.
Tight ends back in. Yeah, and Quatoriano had a huge game last week. Huge. Touchdown pass, 3 big receptions. Really took apart the the Cal secondary.
Oregon State, 451 yards of offense. Jefferson's had a lot of those. He got stopped that time, though, and it's going to be 3rd down and a yard.
Obviously, 2-down territory, nothing to lose. If you're Oregon State, a team that is 1-2, that by all rights should be 2-1. You mentioned it earlier, a bad spot in the Washington game probably cost them a victory. They have a chance to pull this off tonight.
All right, so 3rd and 1. Huge play, obviously, inside the 40 of the Ducks. Under 6 to play. Fake to Jefferson. Jebbia will throw, and he hits Musgrave for the first down right along the sideline.
Mixing it up, using the tight end again for a pickup there, giving Jefferson a break. That's that split zone or stretch play, if you will, moving to the right. They've run it a lot tonight and let Jefferson pick his hole, and he's picked it very well. And I got to believe he's going to touch the ball a lot more here the next couple plays.
Clock continues to move. Jebbia, a little shoulder fake, all kinds of time. On the run, is going to throw it away. Incomplete. All right, our College Football Awards Spotlight brought to you by the Home Depot. Jordan Scott, we saw him make a tackle just a couple plays ago. That Home Depot College Football Awards show, 7 Eastern on January 7th, a Thursday, part of the Outland Trophy watch list. Nobody on the defensive side of the ball in the Pac-12 has started more games in his career than Jordan Scott, the senior from Largo, Florida.
And they need him back out there on the field. He is hard to move when he's in the middle.
2nd and 10. Jefferson gets the ball, hits the hole quickly, ran into his own offensive lineman. I think there was room there, and he ran into his own player, so he gets stopped. Maybe a gain of 3 to set up 3rd down.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, had he not run into him, there was a hole just to the right where he might have broke that for a long run.
And I would assume, Rod, this is 4 down territory for the Beavers. Jefferson comes off the field for 3rd and 7.
With him out, I'm thinking the tight ends again here.
Jebbia moves to his right. Jebbia will run and loses yardage. He lost a couple yards. Throw it away. He at least saved those 2. Now it's 4th down.
The passer was inbounds prior to throwing the ball. It's an incomplete pass. 4th down.
Well, he did. I guess he got rid of it before he stepped out of bounds, so he did throw it away.
Yeah, well, had he had a moment to look, he did have his tight end completely wide open on the wide field. As he rolled to the right, he didn't look back, but he was standing all by himself and might have walked into the end zone.
Well, the play clock's winding down. It's 4th and 7. Oregon State's got to go. And obviously an enormous play in this game. 4th down and 7. Ducks get some pressure on Jebbia, who's going to run and get the 1st down and more. Jebbia sprinted straight ahead for a huge conversion.
Decisive. He made up his mind right away that he was the best option. He doesn't even get to his drop. He really, once he gets to that drop, he's like, I'm gone. I'm out of here. He doesn't waste any time with it. And that decisiveness was all the difference in him picking that up.
So now inside the 20 with that clock continuing to roll. Now under 4 minutes.
Scott is back inside in the middle. Going to be a little tougher to run inside there with him there.
Jefferson is back into the backfield. They fake the pitch to him. Here comes Scott pressuring Jebbia, who will throw the ball away.
Four down territory again, and that big man can move. And he is hard to move when he is in the middle and you try to run inside there. So if Oregon State goes back to the run game, look for it to be the stretch play again with Jefferson getting away from Scott, giving your blockers a chance, because if you go right at him, that's a problem.
Final 3:45. Jefferson takes the handoff, and he gets tackled by Noah Sewell, who knifed his way into the backfield and wrestled Jefferson down, who lost a yard, maybe 2.
Great timing for the run blitz. Watch him run right through the gap. There he is. He's going to come flying through, unaccounted for. There was a double team. He goes right past it. Jefferson never had a chance. That's a huge, huge play.
Noah's brother's going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick. Noah someday is going to play. He is so talented. Noah Sewell.
No doubt about it.
Now 3rd and 12.
Crossing routes.
Jebbia throws across the middle. It is caught well short of the 1st down. That's Bradford, and I assume Oregon State will set up and go for it again.
That was a good play. It cut down the yardage, cut it in half for you, gives you a better opportunity to get this. And now, again, Jebbia has to be decisive. If it isn't there right away, he needs to go get it with his legs.
Beavers have all 3 timeouts, so even if they don't convert, they have a chance still in this game. They're 3 of 4 on 4th down in this one. Under 2.5 to play. 4th and 7. Jebbia, can he make another big play? Throws, and it's incomplete, almost intercepted. Oregon will take over their defense. Comes up with a huge stop. 2:18 to go.
Really big play here. He was locked in, and a great play Matatui is there to make the play.
Stay perfect in his coaching career against the Oregon State Beavers. Oregon has dominated this rivalry over the last decade, 11-1 against the Beavs, and many of the games have not been close. This game very close. Oregon State still has a chance. They stop Dye on the first down carry. They will use their first of 3 timeouts. They have all 3 of them. That's a huge factor.
First charge timeout, Oregon State. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
Yeah, they will use the timeouts effectively here, I'm sure. But listen, Flemma, you heard me say it before. If in the 3rd quarter you kick the PAT instead of going for 2, that 4th down play that they missed would have been a field goal attempt to tie the game. And I think that gets lost for a lot of folks who take these chances and they go early. This is why we say wait until the 4th quarter.
All right, a reminder coming up on Tuesday, second reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings at 7 Eastern on ESPN. We got the first one this week and the full breakdown by Reese and the guys on Tuesday, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Where will Oregon fall? That is a quarterback sneak, and Shuck gets stuffed by Roberts. So second time out, the Beavers now have a chance on a 3rd down and long. If they can stop Oregon from getting the first down, they are going to get the ball back.
Perfect defensive call. Make sure you have someone assigned to the quarterback because he has a run threat. They did it, and now you have a chance to get the ball back if you can get a 3rd down stop here. Flint, let me ask you this. Second reveal Tuesday night. Has Oregon done enough to impress the committee?
Well, I mean, if they survive this game, maybe they can sort of hold serve, so to speak. But certainly Oregon State giving all credit to the Beavers. I don't think Oregon's done anything to blow the committee away and say, man, we got to move the Ducks way up in those rankings.
I agree with that. But remember, we talk about this a lot. Yep, this is it. 3rd down huge for Oregon State to stay alive.
Do you run the ball and make Oregon State use a timeout? Do you throw it and risk having them save their timeout? The throw is incomplete. The clock will stop. And so Oregon State gets to save that final timeout. It's 4th down. Ducks are going to have to punt the ball away, and there will be plenty of time on the clock for the Beavers to have a chance to go down the field and maybe win this game.
Look to the right, the bottom left of your screen. Had Shuck seen that receiver there and gone early, he would have had a 1-on-1 and maybe a shot. Maybe a shot.
Now Tom Snead, pressure on him to get a good punt off. He will punt it away. Bradford back to receive. It's not a great punt. It's going to bounce and be scooped up along the sideline by Bradford. Oregon State is going to have the ball close to midfield with 1:55 to go. Our hardest working player brought to you by Duluth Trading Company. Absolutely no question, Rod, who it is. Number 6 for the Beavers, Jamar Jefferson.
Well, we knew he was good. I'm not sure anybody knew he was this good. I mean, he has just put on a show tonight. 222 yards rushing, averaging about 8 yards a carry. Showed you speed, showed you power, and he's not done yet. They're going to need more from him on this drive if they're going to pull off this upset. Looking for a signature win.
All the great runners in the recent history of this rivalry. Simonton, Jackson, the Rogers, Stewart, James, Barner, Jefferson, the all-time record in this game for rushing yards. First down, incomplete. Jebbia throws low. It'll be 2nd and 10. It's all 4-down territory now for the Beavers. Their last chance here with 1 timeout remaining.
Well, Jefferson has to touch the ball more. He's outrushed Oregon by himself.
I mean, I agree on these last 2 possessions. They have sort of gone away from Jamar Jefferson. 2nd and 10. They're going to throw it middle. That pass is caught and a nice turn upfield. That's a first down for the Beavers. Bradford into Oregon territory inside the 45. Beavers will hurry. They don't have to be super fast, but they'll get lined up quickly.
And for Oregon, you have to decide pressure or not.
Just a four-man rush here. Jebbia again across the middle. Another good delivery and another catch for it. Beavers first down. It's Bradford for the second straight time.
Oregon is playing middle free safety, a deep free safety closing off the middle by and large, and playing man on the outside.
What a great game. Final minute and a half over the top, and it is incomplete. Good coverage there. Dede Lenore was right on top of Bradford with a penalty flag down. That looks like it's going to be against Oregon State. How did the lineman get downfield on that pass play?
Yeah.
Ineligible receiver number 88 was covered up and went downfield illegally. That's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
So it was not an offensive lineman. It was the tight end Luke Musgrave.
Yeah. Covered up and could not go downfield, but he did. You see him in the middle of the field. Listen, Flem, you know, with the style of defense that Oregon is playing right now, sort of a man free safety in the middle of the hole and with man coverage on the outside, the receivers have to beat the corners on slant routes inside. That's where they have to go.
First and 15, kind of a wobbly pass, but I think that was caught. Colby Taylor went down to scoop it up. It didn't hit the turf, and they spotted him, it looks like, inside the 20 for a first down. Now they want to blow the play dead, and maybe
first down is under further review.
Maybe to take a look at it.
But that's the right choice. That is the place that Jebbia needs to look against this coverage, and your receivers have to beat man coverage and get inside. The corners are already laying off to the outside, taking that away.
So they want to confirm the catch, which I don't blame them in this situation, particularly with an offense going that up-tempo. We have Matt Austin with us, our rules expert, as we will take a look at what the replay officials are seeing.
From that view, it certainly looked like he got his hands underneath the ball, clearly.
That pass was tipped.
Yes, it was.
Great concentration.
The ruling on the field of the catch is confirmed. The runner was down at the 20-yard line. That still creates a first down.
All right. Thank you, Matt. And good job by the officials. Just wanting to make sure. They did end up spotting it back a yard, but good enough for the first down. 15 yards for the Beavers.
The clock will start on my signal. 1:18. Thank you.
1:18 is the clock. Jonathan Smith looking for a signature win for his program in his third year at the helm in Corvallis.
Plenty of time, Flem, and you don't want to leave any for Oregon, so Jefferson should touch the ball.
He should. He's not. They fake it to him. Jebbia will, well, they give it to him in the pass game. He slips and is down, and I think you're right. There's no reason to rush and go too fast here. All right, they couldn't spot the ball properly. Now they will wind the clock. Plenty of time for Oregon State. A minute to go, down 4. Pressure came quickly. That throw got out quickly. Taylor with another good catch. And I guess he wasn't down initially. He's inside the 10. Down to the 6. Oregon not using their timeouts. Now Kayvon Thibodeau's had such a good game. Is down on the turf. Good sign.
Oregon
he gets
State,
up.
Yeah. Oregon State has time. They don't have to rush here, and you're thinking ahead. You're thinking don't leave a lot of time for the Ducks. I would imagine that they've got to give the ball to Jefferson once or twice down here, burn some clock, and try to get the touchdown.
Well, with the timeout and almost a minute, they could give it to him every time.
Yep. How about Jebbia?
Quickly enough.
You know, we
really
talked,
well, hadn't he?
Yeah, all the pressure was on him to deliver and play well from start to finish, and he's been lights out in the fourth quarter.
All right, clock starts now. First and goal, Beavers. They will give it to Jefferson straight ahead. He is stopped short inside the 3, close to the 2.
First charge timeout, Oregon.
So
Please
now
put 43
Oregon will
seconds on
use
the
a
game
timeout.
clock, 30 seconds in length.
I mean, 40 seconds left. I don't know. That could be a little too late for the Ducks if they really wanted to save time. They could have called a timeout, saved some time before that ball got snapped.
Agreed.
All right, so just a quick moment to regroup. Monday Night Football. It's the Seahawks and Russell Wilson having a great year. I don't think you would say the same for Carson Wentz and the Eagles. Big game for the Eagles Monday, 8 Eastern. Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes. It'll stream live on the app. That's Monday Night Football this week, Seahawks and Eagles.
To me, this is a no-brainer down here. You've run for 267 yards already. You've got a great back with 226, and you want to score and bleed the clock. This is Jefferson's time. Give him the ball.
Second and goal. Gebbia keeps it, leans forward. I think he got in. Let's wait for the signal. None yet. They're spotting him down. So apparently he was down short of the goal line. And now they're stopping the clock. Is it a review? Is it a timeout?
Okay, we got it.
Steve says, calm down, everybody. We got it.
Oregon State. Prior to any of the timeouts, the previous plays under further review.
Okay.
Everybody relax.
It's stressful
I got
for
this.
everybody. It's stressful for the officials, too. What do we think?
Does the ball cross the
Gebbia?
plane?
Where's the ball?
Well, I
Gosh,
can't
so
see the
close.
ball.
So close.
We need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. Right, you got to see it, right? So let's look for the ball. We need to see the ball. I still haven't seen the ball.
It's well said, Matt. Because that happens to me a lot with these replays. I think I know what happened, but if you can't see it for sure, it's tough for that replay official. He's not really allowed to.
We see the number 3 on the back of the jersey and his helmet in the end zone, but we don't see where the ball is. Even from that angle, where's the ball?
Sure seems like he's cradling it high on his chest as he turns around, so we see him have it here up high.
Flip,
then
you're
the way
being
he
logical.
lands,
you're using logic. Logic has nothing to do with it.
I think he got in, but
yes, but the statement has to be, I see him get in with the ball. Logic tells us that's a touchdown. Video tells us we don't see it.
So if it's not, and Oregon State has to call it their last timeout, then they have to be organized if they don't get it on a third down play to go really fast with one more chance.
That's right.
After review, the ruling of the field that the runner did not score was short stands. Oregon State is going to be charged their third timeout. The timeout was granted at 36 seconds. Please put 36 seconds on the clock.
Wow. Okay, so that should take away some of that pressure, Rod, of if they didn't get it, then having to really hustle for a fourth down and goal to go play.
Right. You called 2 plays, but if you're Oregon defensively, you are deliberate if you get a stop and make them rush, make the clock run.
All right, Matt, what's Jonathan Smith asking Steve Strimling about here? What do you think?
Well, he wants his timeout back, and I don't disagree with him. Since the play went to he did call a timeout to stop the clock, so I agree with setting the time back to when he called it. But since it went to review, I do feel he should get his timeout back.
So then that would give Oregon State the ability to, okay, we're going to wind the clock on my signal, but they could get lined up, snap the ball on 3rd down, still have their timeout. And if they needed to call it, if they can't get in on this play, they would still have it.
That's right.
Well, what
if
more
he would
could
have
you
challenged
want?
the play, he would have got his timeout back.
What more could you want from a rivalry game? A 4-point lead for Oregon, the 15th ranked team in the country, trying to keep their undefeated season going, albeit in this strange shortened 2020 season. Jonathan Smith looking for a huge win and arguing down to every last detail to try to make sure his team can punch it in. They are literally inches away from taking the lead against the powerful Oregon Ducks.
Well, keep in mind, if Oregon State pulls this off, it's not only an issue of Oregon and their chase for the playoff. The Pac-12 championship race becomes completely convoluted.
Washington still in good position, and those two teams, Washington and Oregon, will still meet.
When the game clock is under 1 minute and replay stops the game, and the review of the play is a running clock, the clock goes back to the time the runner was down. That's at 40 seconds. Oregon elects to take a timeout, not to have a 10-second runoff. Please put 40 seconds on the clock. Charge Oregon with their second timeout.
Now that was, Matt, some rule book clock management minutia in effect right there. But I think in the end we got it sorted out.
Well, he's exactly right, because if the replay creates a running clock, then it is subject to a 10-second subtraction.
All right, so here we go. 40 seconds. Jefferson, the tailback. Will Gebbia try to keep it and push forward? Will Jefferson get the ball? 3rd and goal. 4-point lead for the Ducks.
I give it to Jefferson here, and if he doesn't get in, I come right back and have Gebbia sneak it.
All right, here we go. Gebbia tries to keep it, gets a push from Jefferson. I don't know. I don't think he got there. Now they're going to stop the clock. Gebbia.
3rd and final timeout with Oregon.
With the ball ripped out by Sewell, saying he came away with the ball. Oregon thinks they have it.
Seconds on the game clock. The runner was ruled short.
And Gebbia is hurt, so the quarterback is hurting. His hamstring or left leg, something is hurting.
36 seconds.
My goodness.
Wow.
So when you thought it was just a foregone conclusion that Oregon State would get in the end zone, that should have been offsides, I think, against Oregon.
I was going to say,
could have been.
It appears that there was a jump that Faliu jumped offsides. That wasn't called. And if you lose Gebbia, now do you come in with Coletto, and can you put him under center? He's been taking shotgun snaps. You know, this goes back to my original thought before, which was give the ball to Jefferson on 3rd down, and then if that didn't work, come back with your sneak.
Well, no matter what happens here now, this is going to go down in history in this rivalry of one of the craziest finishes, with everything that Jonathan Smith is having to think about now. The ball is spotted at the 1-inch line.
Right. And look, how about that Duck defense? The stand that they've made so far, you wouldn't have taken any bet that they could have held up here the way things have been going for their run defense tonight, but they've kept Oregon State out. And they have to do it one more time.
The ruling on the field that the runner is short is confirmed.
So they confirm the ruling of the spot. Chance Nolan is on the field taking practice snaps as we speak, trying to get ready for presumably an under center play. And
you know, I wouldn't do it, Flem. I would not do an under center snap here with the guy who has not been doing it. At this point, while I prefer that you are under center on the goal line, in this situation with the guy who has not been doing it regularly, and he's been in the game for pistol snaps, I got to line him up where he's comfortable, and I got to let him do it, or I got to have him give it to Jefferson. But putting him under center is kind of risky. You might just get a poor exchange right now.
Well, and you got to feel for Gebbia here. Can't put any weight. So now Chance Nolan, the sophomore, will take his first snap for the Beavers in the ultimate pressure spot. Oregon State has to get an inch or two.
Well, he's not running it. He's got to hand that off.
Jefferson in the backfield. They jump off sides. Oregon does. And really, the penalty is so little.
Smart.
Why not do it? They did it last play and it wasn't called.
Right. And so what if they flag you? They're going to move it a quarter
Defense
inch?
number 99 with contact. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 4th down.
You could almost just keep doing it. They can never put you in the end zone.
Right. I mean, that penalty costs you a quarter of an inch.
And look how close the ball is. It cannot be closer and not be in the end zone. 4th and goal. Nolan will try to sneak it, and he pushes in. Amazing.
Wow.
His first play for the Beavers is a touchdown that puts Oregon State ahead with 33 seconds to go.
Are you kidding me? The transfer from Saddleback Junior College comes in, cold, wet, foggy night, takes the snap, takes it cleanly, and gets into the end zone. Hasn't played the entire game. This is one of those things that goes down in the folklore of talking about rivalry games like this. One play. This is the thing that he and his friends can talk about for the next several decades.
I mean, Gebbia can't even celebrate with his teammates. He's played such a good game. He's in pain on the bench. Never has an inch been more complicated and convoluted than that. The kick is up, and it's no good. The extra point attempt was hooked.
Now, in the neutral zone to snap, half the distance to the goal. Replay the try.
All right, so Oregon State's going to get another chance because Thibodeau jumped off sides. Oregon's just jumping off sides basically on every play now, and that is a reprieve because there's still 33 seconds on the clock. Oregon has a chance. Now, this is a huge point here to make sure that even a long field goal could not lose the game for the Beavers.
That's right.
So Everett Hayes gets another crack at it. What a break that was. High snap, good hold, better kick, up and good. 41-38, amazing.
Incredible confidence by Oregon State. Jonathan Smith in particular, the head coach, and his backup quarterback Chance Nolan, who had not been on the field at all tonight.
Well, forget tonight. That's the first snap of his Oregon State career. The first snap of his career is on 4th and goal, and he sneaks it into the end zone for the touchdown that puts his team ahead. And I mean, I just can't. Oh, and Gebbia,
Oregon State's reporting number 83
is in so much pain. It's hard to watch.
Hey, you number 10. Hey, come over here. Go win the game.
I mean, when have you ever heard of anything like that? All the craziness of rivalry games across college football, but the first snap in a Beavers uniform for Chance Nolan, and he pushes it in.
What do you think he was thinking a couple minutes ago? He's on the sideline looking and cheering and coming, saying, get it in. Come on, guys, let's go.
Correct.
And then it's, hey, go win the game, dude.
Just remarkable. Now, Oregon down by only a field goal, but with a kicker who is playing his first college game. So you figure the Ducks need to drive this one. They're going to pooch the kick, though. And it bounces. Oregon will grab it. And so the Ducks offense with 33 seconds to go still has a chance in this game, down 3. No timeouts.
And Flynn, let's not forget what the impact of this game could be on a couple of levels. An Oregon loss really eliminates the Pac-12 from any discussion in the college football playoff. And then it also throws into chaos the race for the Pac-12 championship, which is a significant thing.
Can Oregon come up with a miracle here? 32 seconds to go. Tyler Shuck takes a snap. Will throw short. Williams with the catch, breaks a tackle. Can he get out of bounds? Yes. So that helps. If he was tackled inbounds, Oregon's chances were going to go down greatly. Still not great, but 24 seconds and the clock stops.
And if you're thinking about a field goal for Oregon, how far do they have to get? They probably need to get at least to the Oregon State 40 to have a prayer of a chance. 30-35 for a realistic chance.
Shuck steps up. He's going to heave it downfield, and that one is incomplete. Trying to get Jalen Red. 16 seconds on the clock.
Oregon State defensively doing the right thing, not letting anyone get behind them, keeping everything in front. Tackle, keep guys in bounds. If you're Oregon, at this point, you have to be willing to take the chance of throwing over the middle and hoping that you can get up and spike it once you get the yardage.
3rd and 2. Shuck barely gets the play snapped. Pressure comes immediately. Shuck another heave into coverage, knocked away, incomplete. It's going to be 4th down with only 9 seconds to go.
Too far for a Hail Mary. At this point, you would expect them to go with the hook, the lateral, the toss the ball around to try to make something happen.
You could try to get a 1st down and spike it very quickly. See if you can get up there fast. I don't know if they have enough time to do that. You could try to get a 1st down and get out of bounds. The options are not good for the Ducks. 4th down. They throw across the middle. They are going to pitch it back. And here we go. That ball is on the turf. Beavers are going to scoop it up, go down, and Oregon State will pull off one of the more improbable wins that the Beavers have ever had in the 124-year history of this great rivalry. What a win for Jonathan Smith and his Oregon State Beavers.
Wow. We talked about Oregon State being ahead of schedule and a signature win, and what this will do for recruiting for Oregon State in this area. Amazing.
You can only imagine the scene if we had the fans there at Reser Stadium tonight in Corvallis. We sure miss them, but it did not take away from a tremendous game between the Ducks and the Beavers in their history of a lot of classics. This one goes on the list, and Jamar Jefferson, a record-setting night for Oregon State, finishes with 226 rushing yards. No one in the history of the rivalry had run for more in a single game.
Unbelievable performance, and as we mentioned before, a huge blow to the Pac-12 in the playoff race, and more excitement for the championship of the Pac-12. A lot of folks, a lot of teams are alive and in the hunt.
Yeah, and I think you and I would both agree, even if that kills the playoff hopes for the league, it's hard not to appreciate just a classic game, a rivalry game that lived up to everything that you could have hoped for. 41-38 Beavers with the huge upset win for Shelley Smith and Rod Gilmore. Dave Fleming saying so long from Corvallis Sports Center. Coming up next.